can sell the
We
extras.
can sell it for more and buy an outlet.
That's also true.
We can make tons of money.
Alrighty, let's jump into it. Welcome back, everybody, to the Saturday Shenanigans, also known as the Ironheart Merchant Company. Or, sorry, Ironheart Craftsman Company.
No, it's Merchant.
Is it Merchant? Okay. I forgot to update my note. Yeah. I forgot to update my notes tag.
The initial thing for Craftsman was because I wasn't doing poison or anything yet. We had one Craftsman in the party, which didn't make us a group of Craftsmen.
My apologies.
I could totally craft something if I wanted to.
Yes, I will update my header real quick. I can't change the name of the sections. I'll figure that out after. Anyways,
that's fine.
So, yes, welcome back to the Ironheart Company, or Ironheart Merchant Company. We are returning after about a week and some horrid weather for most of us. So, quick little side note for those who do watch this. If this session's viewing, that means that we didn't crash and nothing got corrupted. If you're not watching this, that means, well, it's corrupted. Which is my note for taking this and editing later.
If this is fucked up, who fucked it up?
Well, we'll have a note in in the episode 4 that episode 3 got corrupted. If that happens.
See, here's the good news: if I lose power, we're fucked. If I lose internet, I can just close the recording and we're fine. So we should be all right. Yeah. But for those who are watching, if that does end up happening halfway through the session, do not panic. We will just upload a part 2 on the same day. It'll come up right after. So I just wanted to kind of add that for those who do watch this and keep track of this stuff. But now that with that little announcement out of the way, let's get back into some D&D. Last session, our brave heroes.
Oh yeah, we're heroes.
Wait, when we didn't sign up to be that, fuck off. No.
We don't want
this. Because Sunday has yet to figure out how to become the brave heroes that we need.
We're not very
Sunday
heroic.
is struggling
brave.
quite fair.
Look, if they're gonna pay me, maybe, but it's gonna be expensive.
Oh, hey, that rhymed.
Yeah, right?
Sunday got scared.
Pretty good, James.
The party
Bard.
managed to come together, visit the town, learn a few things from session 1, taking on a few quests. The party would start out with watching and eyeing up a group of bandits that had fortified a little camp in the middle of the territories between Dragon's Crown and the northern capital of the Fire Giant clans. Upon kind of sitting around, relaxing, watching, kind of tracking the monsters that were in the area, making sure that nothing would spook them, the party continued to watch this camp for their prey, a black dragonborn Araxanor that had managed to start up a bunch of issues for the group over a full misunderstanding on S's identity and dragon racial features as a dragonkin.
Racist as a dragonkin. He was racist a dragonkin.
Exactly. The party would watch this as a group of fire giants would appear, announcing themselves to be the led by Blom's third son, not giving his actual name, and with a mage, a very rare commodity in this time period, especially one that was able to cast so freely. The giants would easily wipe out the bandits as the party would watch on, and after the raiders would arrive, meeting with the party and learning of their deeds, the party would give them the shake and head off towards the bandit camp, only to learn that poor Araxanor had been tortured or something before his death, as the party managed to discover a couple of knickknacks and doodads throughout the camp, as well as a child that they would later find out may or may not have been the heir to Zurit's kingdom. A young blue kobold that hopefully someone took the name wrote down the name of, because the DM has it in his notes, but he's not going to remind the party. As the party would go ahead and take the child in tow, they would take the locket. And I believe you didn't decide to chop off any bits of Araxanor to prove, correct? Or did you? No, you did take his head.
No, we passed off his head.
Yeah, you did chop his head off, yeah.
We did chop off his head and shoved it in the sack that Essa carried around.
That's correct,
and
yes.
Yep.
As you lot...
The kid also has an action figure from me that he got to keep.
Yeah, as you lot kind of took off, heading back to town. As the day would go on, you'd find yourselves at the mercy of a small herd of Drac that you would later find out a novice adventurer would cause the entire thing to happen. As you would get chased down by this group of Drac, managing just to barely escape, except all but one, who had managed to get a taste for the child's arm that you had rescued after biting it clean off. You would manage to tame the creature, the dopey-looking creature, and barely avoiding its bite onto poor S's face as they got real down close to it. You lot would start to walk your way back to the town. Unfortunately, while things started to look peaceful, relaxing, and enjoyable, like nothing could go wrong, you would hear in the distance the screams of the fire giants raiding party and the potential of something even greater in the dark, as the City of Gold mimic came in, ended up finding your group by almost biting down on poor Rolliman, as Rolliman managed to stab the creature, straight up drenching himself in blood, and with James' quick thinking, tossing a lit object off in the distance. The City of Gold seemed to let you lot escape just in time as you managed to get to the city. Racing away, taking a massive payday for the items that you had learned, and hearing and learning about the fact about some dragon lords gathering in this massive capital. Though, as truly not the heroes of this story, and not truly interested in the political situation that's going on in the world right now, you lot decided to hand in your quests, collect your gold, and head back out on the search for some Landerkin eggs and a potential another Drac for another easy payday. We come back to the party standing outside, or finding themselves outside on a forested path. A bunch of trees about them. The path itself seems to be pretty well traveled. Dirt's pretty broken up. The grassy areas seem to almost been pushed to the sides as carts have gone through many a times. Trees seeming to pop up all around you. And as you lot start to look about for a moment, with the spot checks from last time, one of these is not like the other.
I saw nothing.
Rolliman and James, you kind of look about. The trees are quite good quality. No real embermanes seem to be following you lot around. Being eerie of the giant mimic creature in the area, Rolliman and James, for your own individual reasons for wanting to potentially know where that creature could pop up once again, you lot seem to
Don't
kind
worry,
of be...
BK, I'm keeping an eye out.
You seem to be slightly distracted as the cart continues to roll around. As you say this, BK hee-hawing loudly, as if looking very nervous and slightly shaking.
I don't blame you, buddy. I'm nervous too.
You come to a fork in the road, and as you do, Essa, as you're looking around watching, kind of climbing up the trees, looking about to see if you see anything, you notice that the pathway to the right seems to go further on, following further south towards what looks to be, you'd guess the next city would be the fortress of Carmen. Almost Cameron. Damn it, Cameron, why is
you a fortress? Let's go.
Cameron's name is so close to Carmen, and so it's every time I look at the map, I'm like, oh yeah, Cameron, oh no.
Guys, I got a fortress, let's go.
Even worse, it's named after the fucking giant's mother. Noticing the road continues kind of further south towards that direction, you do see for about a mile or so down what obviously looks to be a couple of trees that have fallen down the pathway and have kind of blocked it off. However, as you kind of look it up and down, you know, based on the maps the map you were shown, that the Landerkin don't go that far south in the territories. They're typically further in the area you're in at this point. So kind of eyeing that up, looking around, you don't notice any creatures in that direction at this point. You do see a couple of merchants that look like they're trying to get around the group of fallen trees, but otherwise seem to haven't noticed your presence yet. But as you start to look off to the left, to the other side of the fork, you notice the less traveled road seems to kind of disappear into a thicker thicket. Yeah, sure. Okay, we'll go with thicker thicket. Okay, of trees and bushes that you can see very obviously look to have been trampled and pushed aside by something quite larger. It doesn't look as well traveled by individuals or carts, as the dirt starts to become a lot more uneven as you kind of eye up the path going further in. And as you kind of really get focus in for a moment, the darkness from the tree canopy starts to give a slight green glowing light further in down that left path that seems to disappear into the darkness.
Huh. Alright. Well, I've basically been told the travel path isn't where the Landerkin are, so we only have one. Can BK even look like he can walk through that area? Because it doesn't look like the best area to walk through.
You would guess BK could make it. The cart, you look at a couple of the rocks and a couple of the, where you can see obviously creatures have been, patting down their footprints on there and how uneven the ground is. The cart, with wooden wheels, there's a chance it could crack or break very easily or blow an axle on the thing.
Alright. I'll motion to their path and just ask what's the game plan.
Oh, we could
I
leave
doubt
the
the
cart
cart will
behind
make
and
it.
try and hide it, but that could end up being a problem later.
Could we circle the area, see if there's a better path in that direction?
I mean, I can certainly try.
It'd be best to check, yeah.
Yeah, alright.
Are you just sending Essa, or is the whole party following along?
I'll stay at the cart.
Okay. James, does that mean are you gonna follow Essa, or are you gonna stay on the cart?
Never split the fucking party.
We're splitting the party.
We're splitting
Stay.
the party.
Oh god. Okay.
If you went or stayed, the party would still be split, believe it or not.
Yeah, it's split either way, so make your choice. Do you want to come with, or do you want to stay?
I stay.
Alright.
As you kind of leave them behind, Essa, heading back down the road towards the town, and back up north to circle back around into the forest, you start to look about. Go ahead and either give me a search check or a knowledge nature.
I'll turn to James and say, "We'll look to see how they do solo. Important information."
Let's hope they don't get eaten by the City of Gold.
In broad daylight, I hardly doubt it.
Doubt, but not impossible.
That's decent.
And that is for knowledge or knowledge nature or search.
No, that's search.
Okay, search. Okay. As you start to look about half an hour passes by, James and Rolliman, as Essa doesn't return.
I feel like we would have busted out, you know what? No, I would have spent my time with this doing something fucking that I can. I'm gonna be crafting that blowgun.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a craft roll. Go ahead.
I'll be keeping watch, but at the same time, I'm going to be practicing with my sword.
Okay. Give me a spot check, let's say.
Okay.
So you do that
That's craft woodworking. Scroll back up here. That's a 12. This thing doesn't want to get made.
As you start to carve a blowgun, the blowgun, you manage to get about halfway. You manage to get halfway down the tube before eventually your forearms start to get really exhausted from carving and pulling and stuff. Kind of setting it aside as you start to watch Rolliman, very focused on his training, almost religiously swinging his swords, practicing on one of the nearby trees, just slamming into, not making much noise, as you almost see the blades lightly control to a tap at the very end, almost as if Rolliman's trying to not make a bunch of noise.
I'll be using my maneuvers during this.
Okay.
Practicing using them.
Alright, as you begin training. As the two of you are focusing, Essa, you find yourself kind of weaving and winding your way down a couple of, what you find is a shepherd's path, where you can definitely tell, sheep are brought through here, smaller creatures, farm animals, such like that. As you start to kind of wind your way through, you come to what looks to be a slightly abandoned village as the forest opens up about half a mile north of where your party is at this point. deeper into the forest. But as you start to look about, you notice that it does seem to, or the abandoned town seems to lead off to the side, kind of almost to the going back down the same path you saw earlier that was heavily trampled.
Okay. Does it look like we could manage the cart down this path?
Yeah, as you look about, kind of walking about, you manage to get a pretty good idea of the area. It looks roughly like this as you kind of walk about.
On map.
Okay. I'll go grab the others that I may have found a better path.
Okay. As you kind of head back through, walking about, you about another half hour passes, and you all see as Essa comes walking down the road, kind of looking a little bit more, a couple of, stickers, some vines, a couple of twigs looking like they're poking out of the armor slightly. You can definitely tell Essa's been through a thicket at this point.
Well, I found a clear path.
I found something better than this, at least.
All right then. But sheathe my sword. And
Lead
hop
on
the
then.
cart.
As you do, BK turns, and yeah, as you sheathe your sword, roll him in back onto your back. James kind of walking up to BK to pat him on the butt to get moving. The wagon starts, or the cart starts to go up the road once more and turns off. As you come to a side path, you notice, as Essa points it out, it's this very dirt and rough-looking road, but you see cart lines in it, and you can definitely see the road's been somewhat flattened by creatures over time.
I'll look to Essa and just nod my head. Well done.
I'll just nod back quietly.
As you start to kind of head down this pathway, you come to the village or you find yourself coming into a ruinous village once more. Some creaking and cracking heard from the sounds of the trees around the area as the winds start to kind of blow. The sky overhead still very bright, and the sun still going. It's roughly about a good 70, 60 degrees roughly in there, with a pretty heavy wind coming in, so it's very cooling as you hear it flow through. It almost makes the village kind of whistle as many of the abandoned buildings seem to be so degraded down. No roofs on them, just some flooring and the rough stoneworking that kind of outlines the buildings. And as you notice, a small well at the center of town. The town seems to open up to separate paths, one to the north that you have come down, one to the east, one to the west, and one to the south. The southern direction, Essa would have noted, goes towards the same direction as where you were told roughly the Landerkin should be.
Unless we want to look around here for whatever the southern path is ready.
Interesting sight.
This
but
might be
I
a good
see no
place to
reason.
come back to make camp if we end up out here too long.
It is true.
Probably wouldn't be the worst place, you know?
The well might have water as well. Actually, I'm gonna check that now.
You may as well check now, so we're not hoping for it later.
Does the
Yeah.
well have a bucket or anything, or?
Yeah, as you walk over, you look down, the water is still full, like it's almost to the top. The top of the well, usually where they have like something to cover for the rain, and where usually a bucket pulley system would be set, looks to have completely rotted away at some point. As you kind of look in the water, you can definitely see something at the very bottom at the well that that shimmers every once in a while. Kind of looking at roughly, I won't make you do a spot check. It's big enough. You can understand. It probably looks like the bearings, like the metal ring of a bucket, probably worn away and fell into the water at some point.
Okay.
But yeah, the well is full.
There is water. We will need a new bucket and rope, though.
Well, I have the
Best
rope.
supplies. You have the rope? Do we have a bucket? Does
Yeah, I
this
bought-
card have a singular bucket on it?
James.
Sorry, I got called away for a second. What was said?
You a bucket? On the cart?
Can make one pretty quickly. I don't believe I have one on me. Let me check the cart though. I hop back into the cart for a second. Dig around. No, but Essa has some rope and we have our water skins. We could try to sink them and refill them there. It would take a moment, but
It's just in case we need to camp here. We should be fine, I think, on water. We're still good on water, right? Or should we refill?
As you
Kinda
look
like
at your water, you've been traveling for about half a day at this point. Now you've been eating pretty well by eating at the inn. You ate breakfast before you all took off. So you haven't touched your rations or your water at this point. So I'd assume you'd still have a full water skin.
Okay. We won't need any now, but it is a spot to remember.
Well, I remember that my water skin got emptied and filled with
With some blood.
Well,
mimic blood.
It did.
I'm also assuming if Landerkin are living nearby, they have to be near a clean water source of some kind.
Yeah.
Most
That makes
animals
sense.
would be, yeah. So we'll see what we can find.
In fact, actually, all of you give me a spot check as Essa kind of mentions that as you're kind of looking at as you're all kind of looking over at the well, and James is digging through the cart for a bucket.
Spot check.
Yeah, just to see if you can hear
That's
any
a
running
9.
water. Ouch.
Let's see if I can get better than a 1.
20.
Okay.
There you go.
And roll them in.
14.
14. All right. James, yeah, you're digging through things. You're kind of distracted. You're not really paying attention to the conversation fully as you're looking for a bucket. You know you had a bucket at some point. There's got to be a bucket in here, or you're gonna have to add that to the list of crafting as you start to mutter to yourself.
Side quest.
Yeah.
The
I
stole
gotta
pain
craft
buckets.
a new bucket. Who the fuck
No.
stole the bucket?
Yeah,
Essa, did
side-
someone steal the fucking
stolen
bucket?
bucket. Where'd it go?
Yeah.
I never saw a bucket on the cart.
It's probably people that roughed up the stable hand and took the shit.
Could you imagine they steal everything? They're just like, I'm just gonna take the bucket.
I mean, it was a mighty bucket. I remember it was made by the finest dwarves.
As Rollman kind of looks about and
It was a
commenting
solid
that.
bronze bucket. It was a really nice fucking bucket. My dad made that bucket. I'm a little sad about that. God damn it.
Rollman, you start to pick up. There's definitely water to the south of you. You can hear running water as James kind of makes that joke comments on that. And as he kind of distracts you for a moment, kind of as you kind of trying to suddenly remember something about a bronze bucket he just said, and it kind of catches you away as you start to pay attention to something else. Essa, you hear the running water to the south, but there's also a strange sound that kind of picks up for a second, as you start to hear a almost gurgling sound in the distance, as if almost like a babbling brook. And it's not far. You'd guesstimate by what you're hearing and by the overall the distance, maybe a good half a day's march south at max, maybe even closer.
Are you sure it was bronze, James? I don't remember it being bronze.
It could have been copper. Damn. It's been so long
That's
since I've seen it. I already forget what it looks like.
I was just gonna look at the other two and the most specific shit ever. All right, water's half a mile that way.
I did hear some running water. We can go that way. Can maybe camp out.
I mean, it's also probably
listen, I believe is one. Is a skill.
it's also probably where we're gonna find the Blanderkin as well.
Well, they might not be nesting there, but they should be within a radius
Well,
of it.
we should see them coming back and forth if they're coming for water.
That sounds good to me.
Let's head that way.
Does it look like the wagon can go that way?
The pathway south, it's pretty well walked. It definitely looks like someone was building a somewhat dirt path towards where the water, most likely, is what you kind of gather as you look about the four arching different routes. With basic mercantile understanding, James, you'd know at the very basic that towns don't typically build unless there's running water nearby, and so that typically means that if there's a road going somewhere, that's probably the direction they're going.
Well, let's take the road to the river then and see what we get.
Okay. As you all start to head deeper into the forest, it starts to get kind of eerily quiet as you get about a quarter of the way down this path. The forest seems to grow thicker, but the pathway still seems to be very cleanly, well maintained. The grass seems to somewhat started to invade the area, seeing patches popping up. It definitely looks like this hasn't been traveled in a bit, but whoever had originally put this pathway together really tried to make it last, basically. Watching in the trees, making sure none of the creatures are popping up or catching your attention. You start to notice that as it gets darker and the forest becomes denser in the canopy, you all start to hear the running water starting to pick up more and more, and suddenly notice that along the walkway, a small stream is starting to pull off to the right as you continue down this walkway, going deeper and deeper into the forest. You start to hear slight grumblings and not growlings, but slight roaring, almost as if it's muttered, like something's trying to sleep or snore.
Do I know if Landerkin are daytime or nighttime? Nocturnal.
Nocturnal or not.
That would be a knowledge nature
Yeah.
check, actually.
You know what? Let me see if I can think of that real quick, because I might not be the most knowledgeable, but you know what? It's better to try and figure this out. That's a 15.
You start to think back for a minute. Your times as a merchant, you've seen plenty of people selling these creatures. Plenty of people use them as beasts of burden throughout the day. Not many people talk about how the creatures hunt or what they hunt. In fact, it's not very well known what these creatures directly are predator towards. Only that they are predators. What is well known is the fact that these creatures are typically known to have hunters go out and kidnap them during the day than at night, as they're easier to spot during the day than at night. Otherwise, the only other known information is that these creatures, when they fall asleep, they do not seem to wake up easily, is what you'd know.
I turn to Essa and nod towards the Dreamlily. Get that ready in case it's needed.
The grand sleep drug.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll have it ready. I've had it strapped to my side, so it was easy to access. So.
Remember, 2 drops for Landerkin, 1 drop for Draken, half a drop for Roland. Rollerman.
You can all hear the sounds of the brook or the water starting to get a little louder and louder. Almost as if you're getting closer to the source. You start to notice on the sides of the path some ruined-looking buildings that look to have kind of fallen over, long destroyed, looking to be made of, whereas the buildings in the town earlier seemed to be very common, like gray stones, these ruins look to be made of some sort of whitened material, like almost like a marble-like stone color. Many of them collapsed and fallen over, looking as if they've long been lost and forgotten, trees growing out of them, flowers growing out of them. As you start to kind of pass these, the forest starts to slowly open up, and a light can be kind of start to peek through as you start to see this long winding river suddenly opens up as a clearing pops out of almost nowhere, as you all look and see this large waterfall pouring down, weird ruins kind of tearing into the middle of this riverbed that seems to go all the way down. You come out at the very bottom of that map, seeing this stone bridge that goes over. As you look up towards the top of the waterfall, you see these weird branches coming out of the water, and a strange green sparkling coloration of lights coming off of it, as you see a cave that seems to be above the waterfall, that the water seems to be coming out of, and that's where you continue to hear some of the snoring and slight growling or roaring that seems to be kind of heard as you look about.
Are these ruins marked on any maps
They are not.
that we have?
So this
How
might be
old
something worth
these
looking
ruins
around.
look?
What was that, James?
How old do these ruins look?
You can give me a... Well, you're a
dwarf.
Yes. I believe you have stone cutting for your appraise check for stone work. So if you want to double check that.
You get, like,
I
a
will
bonus,
double
probably.
check that real quick. I should have that listed here. Let me pop in to look.
In any case, we should probably write down roughly where these are in the map. Maybe we can sell it.
I have stability, stone cutting, +2 racial bonus, stonework, on search checks, stonework.
So yes, this is so you can look for search checks as far as it goes to look at things, but you can also, as far as stonework goes, it's basically supposed to be an appraisal thing as well, because you're supposed to be able to tell the quality of the materials that are built. So yeah, you can use this with an appraise for a +2.
All right, that means that would give me a +6 to my appraise.
It's a good
I'll roll
number.
that over here, actually.
Let's see what you got.
Damn. That's rough.
Honestly, you know.
Not one today.
Well, you see, these aren't the Snow Dwarf lands.
Yeah, as you look it over, yeah, you look up the stone up and down. The only thing you're 100% sure of is you haven't seen marble. You know this is marble bricking, and you haven't seen any marble buildings or designs around these parts. As marble's not a common stone used in the Dragonlands. So this is a pretty unique find.
Weird stone usage here in the Dragonlands, so might be something to note down about the location. I'm gonna check on my map and make sure that it noted down this location of these ruins. Maybe we'll sell that to the collective.
I am going to circle exactly where you guys are, so you can keep track of that for your own notes, and this will get updated on the world map once the session's over.
There it is.
Yep.
Look at that.
A little red circle. Very rough to see, but you know. As you look about, you see the marbling. The marble seems to be kind of cracked and broken, but for the most part, you don't see any creatures near the water. However, you can definitely clearly see footprints all along this long river bed and up towards what looks to be these stairs you see in the distance going up to the top of the waterfall.
All right. How should we do this?
DM, can I find? Because I feel like it'd be obvious where the what exact direction the least footprints come from.
Yeah, if you want to just kind of do, I mean, that's a search check, survival, I'll let you run knowledge nature if you want to try that to kind of kind of lock in on them. Wait, you have something for tracking, isn't that survival?
I do have a
feat.
Yeah.
Tracking is a feat. It is a survival check.
Yeah, so it's survival. So yeah, go ahead and do survival.
Okay.
Luckily, you may have seen Landerkin footprints before.
16, which I think any normal group, if this is normal dirt, is like a DC 15 if there's less than 3 of them.
So as you look about, following a couple of the footprints, you notice that that small horde of Drac you had seen earlier definitely visited this area all at one time. As you see, towards the other side of the bridge, in that little that curved bank, there's definitely a group of Drac footprints that all seem to have come at once. As you kind of eye it up, seeing how fresh they are, you'd guess they are about roughly a day or two old. You notice there's a couple of very larger footprints that seem to have visited the area. Looks to be like 2, maybe 3 Landerkin had come through here, no more than maybe a half a day ago, that had gone probably a little bit further north by the look of the tracks. However, a distinct set of footprints catches your attention too, in fact. One that you don't recognize and does not fit with any of the other creatures you've seen in this area as you look about. They're small and somewhat pointed. You notice that there are about 5 long, spindly fingers to them, and almost slightly clawed at the end, but very tiny feet. Not small enough to be a Drac, but definitely not thick enough to be a Landerkin. As you look at them,
Oh no, it's the rats.
How recent for the little ones?
The little one, the one you realize it's only one creature. You'd guess that this is about maybe a day and a half as you look it over. As you get closer to the tracks, I assume you're gonna kind of get closer with the group.
I wanna see if I can even kind of figure out what it is. You know.
Yeah, you get as the whole group kind of goes over, not seeing any immediate danger as you all look about. You notice that this creature, there's some sort of obvious markings of a fight between a very large, and what you clearly can tell is a Landerkin about twice the size of a normal Landerkin. That looks like there was a scuffle between these two creatures. As you can see marks on the ground, it looks like where they stood, and then marks of what looks to have been a small fight in the mud. You can see a little bit of blood here and there, and definitely some small drag marks that you just now start to pick up more faintly as you get closer towards the waterfall. Or, sorry, not like the drag marks lead towards the waterfall, for reference. Not like you have walked over there.
Yeah.
Is I assume Essa is telling us.
Yeah.
What these
I
tracks
agree.
mean, right? I assume maybe this giant Landerkin has killed this creature and has taken it into the cave.
Didn't we see the giant landerkin when we were running from the shortly before we were running from the mimic?
No, that was a giant drac.
It was a-
Oh,
Yeah, that was
I remember the
giant
giant
clip.
creature.
It was one that it was a drac that was too big to chase us down.
So
Yeah,
I
we
don't
never
know
saw
if
any Landerkin yet.
we want to follow the tracks of a much bigger than average landerkin.
We could hope
Well,
that it's fats
The
and
females are
happy with his
supposed to be
meal.
much larger than the males.
BM, I'm
So
assuming when you say large than average, you mean of both, like male and female, right?
This creature, if you'd had to guess, so the average landerkin would be considered what would be like the same size, like girth-wise, to maybe like a young adult dragon for like width, not necessarily height. This one looks to be about the size of a full-grown adult. Like it's definitely
Yeah.
thick, but it's definitely, as you look at the footprints, not a flying creature. You can definitely tell it's a landerkin because of how big the footprints on it. They are very wide and they seem to sink very heavily into the dirt. You'd guess this creature's been eating well for quite a while in this area.
Yeah. So it's just an actually oversized creature.
That's not going to be good on the ecosystem either.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not. But that's not our job. Nor do I think we want to deal with it.
Nope. We can tell the guild about it though, and they can put something up for it.
Okay.
We should be more worried about finding a nest.
I've got the
Might be in that
landerkin
cave up
tracks.
there.
I can lead us to one of them.
Let's follow them if we can. We can make sure the cart can go upstairs if need be by, well, shoving it up them.
Are you gonna head up the waterfall, or are you gonna head to follow those other landerkin tracks you had found?
Party choice.
Or something else entirely?
I don't want to
mean,
go after the big one.
we can. The cave has sounds coming from it. I assume Landerkin are in there.
We could take a look. Well, Essa should probably go take a look real quick.
I could go take a look. Yeah.
We could stay this far away. Let's have
I'll
a turn around in
just,
case we need to run
If you're
quickly.
gonna go take
Cameron.
a look,
Okay.
I will pat your back again and give you guidance so that you can have a little bit of a bonus to your stealth.
Yeah. Also, Cameron, I'm not as worried about leaving the cart here for a little bit than we were like out on the main road. Because what are the odds
just
it goes up and
coming in
take the cart?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's the one concern, right? All right. So I'll go sneak up to the cave and see what's up.
Yeah.
Why not?
Give me a hide check real quick.
Hide or move silently.
Actually, let's do move silently because they wouldn't know nothing that you can tell can see you currently. So I'd assume you'd just be kind of tiptoeing up.
Yep.
And you get a +1.
Okay.
Gotta love guidance.
Look, I'm getting my money's worth out of it right
You
now.
are. This is what you gotta use it for. No, I'm not giving you crap for using it. I just think it's funny because you're so used to that D4 extra.
This is old guidance. I will make the new guidance eventually.
That's not terrible.
Yeah, BK kind of slightly turns around the cart at James's comment, and as he does so, Essa, using the sound of the cart moving, slowly kind of turns and starts walking up towards the somewhat broken stone stairs that seem to go all the way up to this waterfall. As you start to kind of tiptoe, the grass is wet and the mud is somewhat slick, but it's barely leaving any footprints or even a sound of a squelching foot. You all watch as Essa almost dances over the ground with ease. As you get to the stairs, you definitely notice Essa, these are hand carved. Someone came here and built these things. You're not sure how long, of course, but you can definitely tell these were built by someone. Climbing up them, they're a little bit rigidy, but thankfully, being that they're carved into the side of this like cliff, basically, you're able to climb up pretty comfortably. With a couple of these stones being somewhat, or stone stairs being somewhat loose, you manage to avoid them pretty easily. As you get to the top. Are you just gonna be looking into the cave, or are you also looking at the waterfall, or the top of the waterfall, now seeing these green glowing lights that are coming off of it, and the strange like sticks that are sticking out of these branches that are sticking out of it that look to be malformed?
I won't look at it super hard. I'll take like a quick glance and then go, because my main thing I came here was for the
Fucking
cave.
druid up there.
Okay, yeah, give me a spot check real quick.
Yeah. Check my things.
See if you catch anything.
I believe I have a +6. I do.
Yeah, as you look in, just for a moment, kind of not just side glancing as you're trying to find your footing to the side of that cave, noticing the water goes even further into the cave itself. Something small and green is floating in the water. That kind of catches your eye, as well as something very white. For a moment, as you look away, you kind of take a second glance and you see bones of some sort of small creature and a green scale laying on the side of the waterfall next to where you're standing.
I'll keep in mind where the scale is because I might grab it on my way out.
Okay. Kind of looking at that, eyeing that, you look into the cave and you see a very wide, very asleep Landerkin at the very entrance to the cave, just a few feet in, laying in a pool of water, comfortably snoring away. As it has what you can see is clearly about a clutch of 6 eggs right behind it. You see its horns are a slight greenish color and a little bit larger. Its legs seeming to be covered in some sort of greenish blood, and you can definitely see a bunch of clawed scratch marks all over the body of the creature. It looks like it's been cut up pretty good as it sits there laying or sleeping.
Since we were told, because most people had how different the eggs are, can I see how many are male and female? Because I was told, I remember the female eggs were much bigger and like had a different design on them than the male eggs.
Female eggs are bigger and spotted. Smaller eggs, the male eggs are smaller and
yeah. So can I see the difference in numbers of male to female for the eggs?
Do you have low light vision or dark vision?
I have both.
What's the distance?
60 feet.
Okay. As you look in, kind of narrowing your eyes, without anybody else being able to see, as you blink, your eyes seem to almost change slightly to this yellowish color from their original look. Kind of as the cave lights up almost slightly, you look in and you see each of the eggs are quite large, almost all the same size, and they are all spotted. As you kind of re-blink, the yellowness disappears and your eyes go slightly back to normal, giving that reptilian like cover that Crocs use, basically. As you kind of slowly back up a little bit.
Female eggs are supposed to be rarer. Holy shit.
I want an out of party decision really quick. All right.
I
could come back and tell, which is the safe option, or I could use what I already rolled because apparently they sleep well and he's injured to try and grab 1 or 2 of the eggs and get out.
Is Essa's decision.
I will mention just a quick note before you make this decision. Each egg is about 1 foot to 2 foot tall, depending on like the varying size. I mean, they're roughly, that's because you can't say exactly, but they're roughly all about the same size. Of course, are
they like ostrich eggs?
Yeah, they're pretty large. So you, Essa, by the guest of it, like holding these things, you might be able to get 2 of these in your hands, but you probably won't get more than that in one go. Not because of weight, just by the sheer like width of these things.
I would say you could.
Awkward it is.
It's up to you. I'm deferring
It's
it to
Essa's
you.
decision.
My advice would be do the safer option, but Essa's decision.
I would say I'm gonna come tell the others first before I do something crazy because I feel like if I go in and fuck up, that's not gonna be a good look on me to the party.
Yeah, no.
Essa thinks, yeah.
Okay, yeah. As you kind of back up slowly, are you picking up the scale? Because I know you mentioned you wanted to.
I'm not gonna touch it yet.
Okay. Now, as you kind of back up, looking, kind of heading back down, again, with the easy glide that you had earlier, you glide through the stairs, avoiding any of the sounds of the cracking brick, or the sound of stepping on anything as you hit the ground, dancing across the wet grass
Meanwhile,
back
I'm down
to
there
lot.
explaining to BK, look, you're a woolly mule. You're in the middle of a forest. And we don't know what Landerkin specifically eat. We know they're omnivorous, so you could be on the table.
You see,
They eat anything.
I don't want to leave you here.
As Essa says this, coming back, and BK looks at you with like just the most, are you kidding me? You're doing this to me again?
I'm not leaving you here at all. I'll
Also,
bend the cart before I land on you.
James, quieter.
Yes?
That Enderkin is right there.
Oh, shit.
That's what's in the cave.
Almost with like to enunciate that point, you hear the slight louder snore and like a rush of air kind of pushes out the cave, causing the dirt to kind of scatter into the water.
Now, obvious downside, it's a very big, probably stronger than average Landerkin. Upside, it's injured, and it has a full clutch of 6 female eggs.
The female ones are rare, aren't they?
They're all female.
That is
Out of the
big.
ordinary.
Yes.
Hmm.
We'd still need to find some male eggs, but that could be very profitable.
We
But
could.
we don't want to take all of them.
Why not?
Well, one, it could cause more problems for. If there's already an oversized landerkin, it could cause problems for the ecosystem to suddenly have less landerkin be born in the wild. Too many less, anyways. And since we have to raid 2 nests, because we have to have female and male, I'm thinking 4 eggs?
We can attempt to see how many we can gather stealthily, but be prepared. If it wakes up, might want to put an arrow in it with the dream
Or-
lily.
Well, no, that could put it into shock and kill it immediately.
That'd be I feel like that'd be a win.
Fair. And if it's that oversized, it may not either, so we'll see.
Also, James,
If it's
one
tameable.
one nest of that's not going to ruin the ecosystem.
Alright, fair. We can go for all of them then. It's up the stairs, yes?
Yeah, I can try to sneak back in.
Do you want me to help you again with guidance?
Your call. You can't cast too many spells per day.
No, I'm down to 3 more at this point.
I can help a little bit. I'll get closer. You hand the eggs to me, so you don't have to walk all the way down here.
I'll just nod, and I guess I'm gonna stealthily start heading back out.
All right, Rollerman and Essa, give me a move silently roll. And then Essa also give me a hide roll on top of that.
Oh, that's not good.
Okay.
Essa's not moving very silently.
No, look, I've been rolling good all session. We knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Look, if I roll a good hide check, it won't at least notice me specifically immediately.
Oh boy, boys! I'm
It
moving
might not
silently.
wake up either.
Rollerman's watched Essa and took all of Essa's luck on jumping around, following the exact footsteps.
Even the hide's an 11. All my search here took all the good rolls.
As you lot, I'm just gonna roll this for my own sake. Okay. As you, James and Essa kind of find your way walking back over, or not James, sorry, Rollerman and Essa. James staying at the cart, continuing to explain to BK, who is now looking at
Quietly.
you, not hee-hawing at all, now realizing what the situation is after that snort, and is looking at you with impatience and fear in his eyes.
I'm gonna pat him and just give him a dried apple.
As you do
That'd be
so, Rollerman and Essa, Rollerman following exactly where Essa was jumping earlier, avoiding all of the the muddier spots, the squelching sounds amongst the mud, the sticks. You managed to get to the base of the stairs and kind of climb all the way up to the side of it, kind of waiting there, not wanting to go into the water, realizing the disadvantage you'd be at. Essa follow right in front of you, though less eloquently, as you watch Essa kind of steps into some of the mud, leaving their footprint, not really focused now on the nerves ahead of what they're about to do, walking into the cave, a very dangerous creature by themselves. The nerves Essa looks a little shaken by that as they start walking up.
Roma is calm as a cucumber right now.
Essa, as you start kind of getting up to the edge of it, you can see the cave itself inside as you kind of take one more look in. The water's about 2 feet deep at its highest, or its deepest, and the eggs seem to be set at the very back of the cave behind the Landerkin, about 12 feet behind the creature, just sitting on a rock in what looks to be a small kind of semi-stony, kind of semi-plant debris nest where the eggs are sitting. Go ahead, and are you just going to try and focus? Are you trying to focus on just getting into there, grabbing the eggs, and getting out, or are you going to be keeping your eye on the Landerkin the entire time, or the eggs the entire time? Just to kind of get my understanding.
I'm basically keeping an eye on the Landerkin because I'm seeing how close I can shuffle until it reacts. If it reacts.
Okay. Alright, as you start to kind of step into the water, Rolaman, I want you to give me a quick spot check while this is going on, before we run S's thing.
That's +2.
Okay.
14.
As you're kind of watching Essa disappear around the corner into the cave, into the darkness, hearing the snoring, you kind of get a little distracted looking about. You see the small green scale on the edge of the water where you see it's kind of sitting there, as well as you start to notice the floating bones that seem to be in the water that kind of are moving about every once in a while. Not like as in a conglomerate, but like as in if it looks like it's being moved by the water's current itself.
Have I like seen anything with those kind of scales before?
The green
Is that kinda
scaling,
high?
you can go ahead and let's say,
Probably a low chance of this one scale.
you can either give me a knowledge nature for this, or a knowledge nobility if you have that.
Nobility? No, I don't have a knowledge nobility.
That's concerning. Wait a minute.
Knowledge,
Nature, or knowledge
Nature?
in general if you don't have any of those.
I do not have any knowledge nature or knowledge nobility, so it's just an intelligence.
Pretty much,
check, I
yep.
believe. 9.
You take a minute and you look at it. You've definitely seen creatures that are scaled before. Green scales, though, that's weird. That's not something that catches your mind immediately. The only green scaled creatures you've ever heard of are like dragons and shit like that. And people don't kill dragons. As you kind of eye up that, as you start to climb into the room with the creature. All right. As you start to kind of get by, the snoring continues. You kind of stepping by the creature slowly, taking every individual step as trying not to slosh the water around you. Even to move it in the fear that this Landerkin is going to awaken. You notice that as you look at the side, this creature has been torn up pretty hardly. You see wounds that are fresh, still bleeding. As you get close to it, its breathing is definitely a lot more shallow. As you look at the creature, it doesn't seem to react as you walk by, or as you start to slowly crouch by.
If we don't
Once S's
kill this thing,
passed.
I may come up and try and tame it.
Once S is passed, I'll be keeping an eye on it in their place. That way they can
Okay.
focus on getting eggs instead of looking behind them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of getting up to the right of the edge of the cave and kind of looking in. Okay. As you do so, Essa, you start to kind of slowly climb around to the back. The creature still seems to be snoring as usual, not reacting. You get to the back, as you see or come to the nest, seeing the group of them. You see what looks to be a couple of large creatures laying on top of these eggs. As you start to get right up on them, you notice these are giant beetle-like creatures that seem to be giving off some sort of almost heat that you can feel around the eggs. As you kind of start to notice being this close now, you can also notice that the eggs, where normally you were told that Landerkin are gray, brownish, or that color, these eggs are, while brownish in solid coloration, these spots are very almost luminescent green.
Oh.
We might have found a subspecies, boys.
DM, so out of game, I know what those beetles are. What do I have to roll to see if Essa knows what those beetles are?
It'd be a knowledge nature check, or at the survival check. Survival will get you a general idea of if this creature is dangerous. Knowledge nature will tell you exactly what this creature is and what it's used for.
Well, the goal is to see if it's dangerous. So that's easy.
Yes, you look at the creature for a moment, taking a second. You realize that this is a giant fire beetle. These creatures are considered semi-dangerous to young adventurers, but only usually when in hordes. It's, otherwise they're not much to usually stab or kill. They're not very strong typically. But as you look about the 7 eggs that you now have spotted, you count roughly like 5 or 6 of these giant fire beetles that seem to quietly be buzzing and light warmth being given off as they surround the eggs. Like they're just sleeping in the nest by the looks of it, or laying in the nest.
Can I see which egg, just by looking, would be easiest to move without disturbing the beetles?
As you look around, you definitely see one on the very edge that's slightly teetering, as one of the beetles seems to readjust and almost starts to kind of lean. You can definitely tell if nothing's done, it's going to fall into the water and probably float away, as you look it up and down.
I'll go for that one.
Okay. Let's see. That will be a... Is it sleight of hand?
There's some sort of sleight of hand.
Yes, sleight of hand check.
Or
See
is
if you
it- I
can
don't know
not
if
wake up
it's-
the, or if you cannot phase the beetle.
Is there a sleight of hand check?
Yes, there is.
There is a check, and
Oh, yeah.
unfortunately, while I have a high dex, it's not a skill that I put points into.
Isn't your dex maxed
So
out
how you
almost?
No, I have a 16.
Oh Jesus!
You start to get closer, and as you start to nudge it, you almost, you see one of the beetles starts to kind of move a little bit, and you start to see it's about to flutter its wings open, knowing that these creatures are very luminescent for their butts. You immediately let go of the egg and just kind of back away for a second, letting the creature settle back down.
Try again, buddy.
Alright,
Got this.
we'll try again.
Alright, I'll give you one more roll, and then we'll jump over to James for a second. Go ahead.
That's much better.
As you taking a second, stealing yourself, looking back at Rollman, who gives a thumbs up as he's staring at the creature, still snoring quietly. The creature's still breathing, still coming a little bit rapid, but definitely still asleep. It hasn't changed its breathing pattern too much. You start to get your hands around the creature or the egg once more, and then slowly, at a very painful pace, move it away until the beetle seems to almost like pull itself further into the nest, attracted to the warmth. You pick up this egg. It is a good 40-pound egg. As you lug it in your arms, it is heavy. As you pick it up, you are now. I think you're lightly encumbered, right?
I believe that for me. Where's my
I'll check
thing?
myself when it gets to that point.
That might be medium encumbered. I know it's not
Okay.
the
Yeah, you start to feel yourself kind of like heavily sinking into the ground a little bit. The dirt underneath you starts to kind of give a little bit away, and you start to realize this is definitely not a solid floor bed as you thought it was.
No, so I'm just gonna have to move a little slower because I think that's the one downside of encumbrance.
Mhm.
That's fine.
Go ahead and roll another move silently check. And then Rolliman, while he does that, also roll a let's say knowledge, nature, or animal handling. There's no animal handling. Knowledge, nature, it is.
Just handle animal.
There's handle
There's
animal. I'll take that because I'll consider that a way to tell if an animal's like actually reacting or anything. If you can tell
Right,
anything
it's
like
the
off
same,
with
it's
them,
the same bonus.
probably yeah.
Handle animals charisma skill. Oh god.
Yeah.
That's why I'm good at
I
it.
have
My
a plus
charisma.
3.
As you kind of look it up, Roman, you're kind of eyeing the creature for a moment, thinking that there's no way. As Essa starts to kind of slightly slosh around in the water, moving it, you start to get like almost like cringe of realizing when you're trying to sneak out from your parents' house and you suddenly hit something and you know they heard you. You kind of like put your shoulders up, waiting for the Landerkin to react, and you watch the creature does not seem to stir as it continues to sleep, almost still breathing just as heavily as it was, still with those like fast breath though. As the creature continues, Asa finds themselves kind of sloshing through the water pretty loudly, and what comes out, not
Once
waking the
they
Landerkin.
get close, I'll reach my hands out to grab the egg.
Okay. Yeah, grabbing the egg, you feel the heavy heft of this creature, and as you kind of pull it back out, yeah, you standing now there with a 40-pound, 2-foot-tall, spotted brown, or brown solid and spotted green egg.
Before Roland moves, I'm gonna get really close to his ear to make sure it's quiet,
Okay.
and I'm just gonna say, there's fire beetles on, basically on the other eggs.
Okay. And I jerk my head back towards the carriage.
Yeah, I'm gonna step out with him because the others are very risky to get at this point.
Okay. As you kind of step out, you watch as Roland kind of starts walking off. James, as you were kind of talking to BK, eyeing up the area and making sure. Give me a search check or a spot check, whichever's higher for you.
Let me double check my search. Yeah, no, spot check's gonna be higher, so I'll do that here.
I think I'm learning some rolls. It's not the Landrican you're rolling to wake up. What's nearby, DM? What are you playing?
The Drake Horde.
I don't want the
Drakes are 2 days old, but they might come back.
Well, but the Draccord should have broken up unless someone made a new Draccord, because they don't do that naturally.
Same guy, he's back for revenge.
As you look about James, kind of looking at, watching the party, you watch as Rollman, or Essa hands off this big egg, watch Rollman kind of starting to come down the stairs with Essa right behind. You look about, kind of watching, just, you know, you're an adventurer, you're experienced enough to know to keep on alert at all times.
Alert. I've been traveling long enough.
And you start to hear a strange noise above you. Almost a loud flapping noise.
Oh,
I'm looking up.
As you kind of take a moment to look up, you notice a young adult green dragon flying in the sky, looking as if it's searching for something, as it seems to fly past your little clearing, almost completely ignoring you.
That's not normal for them to do, is it?
You've never seen a green dragon before.
Hey, DM.
I meant dragons in general to be out wandering without one of the Dragon Lord's orders.
Not unless they're a clan elder and they're confident in their skills in combat, because any other Dragon Lord could come out and kill them just as easily for food or for magic materials, because dragons will hunt other dragons. Yes, Essa?
Would I know what dragon eggs look like when they breed with another species?
That one would be very specifically a knowledge nature, knowledge arcana. You'd have to actually have one of those two knowledges to be able to roll for it.
I have knowledge arcana.
All right, I don't have
haven't
a
seen the egg
better
yet.
question, because if it's majority, do I know what dragon eggs usually look like? Because I think that's more fitting my backstory.
Yeah, dragon eggs are a pretty well-known thing for most people. As you know, this isn't exactly a unknown topic. There are clans that don't necessarily stay in the cities and stuff, and that are out more in public, or eggs that are sold on the market, which, well, rarely, most of the time are dead, are still used as magic item materials on the very rare occasions they pop up. So they're roughly, from what you've seen, they usually stand about 3 feet tall, from what you would know, and they are usually spotted or striped, or they can come in very different colorations or mixtures, but they always have the same coloration as their main dragon, like whatever dragon type they are.
And you said what color were the spots on this egg?
Really
green.
bright green.
I think Essa has a realization the more she looks at the egg.
Bring it down to me and I can confirm it.
Can I cover the egg with like my bedroll?
Yeah, assumingly you just stopping roll him and kind of turning him around.
Yeah, Essa's eyes kind of wide and she covers the egg. And she just says, I'll explain when we get to James.
You give a raised eyebrow, but don't say anything.
James, as you're kind of looking about, you also notice that the woods are actually really quiet. Like, you don't hear birds chirping or anything, which means usually that means there's a pretty large predator in the area, because that means prey creatures are going silent for a reason. The forest has almost gone to a dead silent, minus the river, and the babbling brook from the waterfall.
Alright, I'm gonna be very quiet, and I'll keep a hand on BK and make sure that he's aimed to go back the way we came through the thick trees, because that's the best route we have out of here.
Yeah,
Even though the road's a bit more open, I'm assuming the tree coverage is about the same.
Yeah, going back the same direction, yeah, you'd be the same route. You see as Rollman and Essa come down, seeing Essa kind of shoving their bedroll or wrapping their bedroll around the egg, as Rollman's kind of carrying it back to it. You both come back, as you are kind of watching. James seems to be looking up at the sky, kind of eyeing things and watching, as he's like got BK turned around, ready to go. You all come back at the base of the far side of the bridge.
Green dragon flying above.
That's not a good omen.
Oh, shit.
The rest of the eggs are not able to be grabbed.
So,
Sure.
Why?
Covered in fire beetles.
Yeah, there's fire beetles in this.
I
Also,
have a way to get them, but it's gonna take an hour.
so I've had a realization. Dragon eggs are the color of the dragon that lays them. These eggs are bigger than normal and spotted green.
I'm gonna take a look at the egg and roll our knowledge arcana.
Yeah, feel free. Go ahead and roll knowledge arcana.
It's a 12. I am rolling shit tonight.
As you look this up and down, it kind of, you look about and you look up at the, you take a second and you think, you're pretty sure, as you look at those eggs, the dragons can't breed with Landerkin in their older ages because the dragon would be too large. Even a young
But the
adult
younger-
dragon would probably, from the amount of power, the creature's strength and everything, you would know would be very, almost unsuited for a Landerkin. But something of a wormling, or around that size, easily could be,
Now,
Have anybody seen any about wormling age dragon remains up that
Now-
way?
but DM, does his thought process account for a double-sized Landerkin?
No, he wouldn't. James wouldn't know that wouldn't outright assume something like that because it's not well known that Landerkin can get this big. This is this creature itself, just with how the look of it is unique in its design.
I would say
average,
I just
James will say
included.
that on average, a Landerkin is too small. to breed with a
Landerkin
dragon.
is like double the size of normal Landerkin.
With
As
that-
debating Roman's and Demon Thought, then he's going to mutter a curse in primitive, and he's say, "We need to return this egg. I saw a green scale.
We could
We don't want
I
trouble
can just
with
walk
this."
up and put it back. I can just walk it back and put it back down, and just call it a day.
I mean, we could take it still.
No, we don't
Do
want
you
trouble with
A
a dragon.
One egg missing from a clutch when you've seen all green scale. Was there anything else around it?
But
Anything
James,
at all?
also consider we are taking this egg back to a dragon city.
That's fair. Put it back. We could leave it out at the entrance. It's not going to be too.
I was saying,
at that
I'm
point.
not going to walk it all the way back. I'm going to put it back up there because I'm not sneaking back into the nest to put
When
this
we
thing back.
go to the next nest, though, I'll take the time we travel to do some praying and
Yeah.
swap
Yeah.
something out. I think it'll be good and useful for us. In this instance.
All right, as a, I'll be. Are you able to walk it back? Do you want me to?
I can walk it back.
Okay.
I'll keep a watch out for.
Grab that scale, though, and if there's anything else near it, that's still useful.
I don't think the dragon will care if we take a random scale. That was already on the ground, so that should be fine.
I'm referring to the bones you saw there.
Do you really want to scavenge in the water for bones and probably get caught because this is
Well-
that dragon's nest?
No. At least check them. If they're small bones from dragon, if they're small draconic bones, then that confirms the problem.
I'll take a glance.
All right. Give me a move silently, because I assume you're trying to keep this quiet still, Essa.
Yeah.
I will give you another guidance before you go,
Alright.
because I'm gonna be praying anyways, which refreshes my spells.
Nat 20.
There you go.
Nice. As you climb up to the thing, almost with precision, heading back now getting accustomed to the egg's weight, and the real fear of the situation really getting you high alert, Essa. Adrenaline pumping, you start walking over there, watching the skies for the dragon that James mentioned earlier. You start heading over. Roland and James, give me search checks, because I assume you're gonna be watching for the dragon specifically, not just
For
looking
sure.
for anything. Go ahead and roll that.
Yeah,
Essa,
that will be a...
as you climb up those stairs, getting up to the top, setting the egg off to the side, you see the scale still laying there. I assume you're gonna be looking into the water just to see if you can get a better look of what those bones are.
I want to see if they look special anyway, and if I can get to them without making too much noise.
Okay. Alright, perfect. Thank you, Rollman and James. As you look down, so picking up the green scale for a moment, you immediately recognize this is a dragon scale. It's pretty clear. It's very small though, and it's as you kind of pick it up, you also notice you can bend it with your thumb with ease, which is almost unheard of. As you kind of take a look at, as you kind of look into the water and get a little closer, getting down on your hands and knees while still not making any sound, you see a full set of dragon bones that are about the same size as you.
I don't think I
Wormling.
can carry those. I don't think I can carry those.
They do seem to be kind of lightly floating in the water, but they are sunk halfway into this little pit that's about 6 feet deep for the top basin of the waterfall.
I would say, are there any like teeth, anything smaller, anything like?
There's a couple of
The
small
skull.
bones that are floating to the top. You could definitely try and grab the skull or anything else from the water. You just feel like if you went for like legs or like anything below like the rib cage, you'd have to like fully submerge yourself and like pull it out.
I mean, do I think I can lift the skull? Looking at it,
looking at, you'd guess it looks only maybe 5-10 pounds max. If that's a really heavy skull, you don't think it's that heavy looking. I mean, compared to the egg,
Then
it's
the-
definitely smaller than the egg by a long shot.
I would say, since I took the egg out, I'll try to grab the skull and I'll put that in the bedroll.
Yeah, you go in, you grab onto it, and you expecting some resistance. Give me a strength check.
I'll say I'm not very strong.
No worries.
So unfortunately, this is a D20 plus 1.
Oh no, only a +1.
This is my lowest stat.
As long as it's not gonna negative, you know.
Right.
6.
Expecting some resistance, the skull's pretty much not cleanly, but you have to kind of pull once, pull twice, and then you feel it start to give, and then almost pull back a little bit more, kind of falling back onto your butt, still not making a sound. You all watch as Essa kind of falls back, holding the skull by the end by right beneath the jaw line, and just like grasping onto it, and how it's holding up in the air. It is clean and bleached.
mean,
I
it's
also
been there
realized-
for a while.
I have a sack that smells like the blood of a different creature. I should probably just put this in there instead of bedroll.
It's up to you.
That's probably smarter. I'm gonna put it
It
in there.
smells like a dragon can, so
But as you pull out the skull, are you going to inspect it, or are you just going to bring it back straight to the party?
Putting it straight in the sack. We can inspect it at the bottom.
Okay. Yeah, shoving it into your sack. It's only about a foot in diameter or in total, and as you kind of climb down the stairs again, back to the party, nothing seems to happen.
did he return? Was the egg returned?
You do see the eggs at the top of the cave entrance, like on the outside of it. James and
Perfect.
Rolliman, as you're looking about, you don't see the dragon return. You can definitely hear it in the distance flapping, but it sounds like it went further south.
Let's go quickly.
Let's go follow those other tracks then.
The
Did you
scale-
find anything else up there?
The scale wasn't worth anything, and I'll open the sack and just show the skull that's still in the sack.
Dragon bone. And the scale is still worth something, even if it's weak.
I-
It's a great material to enchant on.
No, James. You see my non-existent muscle? I could bend it with ease.
Yeah, then it's dragon.
The thing
can be
may as well have
equivalent
been made of
paper.
paper.
Then it's be easier to work just to draw on for a rune. For
Look,
a
it was
one-time
one,
use
it was
thing.
one tiny scale.
I don't know it's any enchanting, but maybe he can work something on it. We'll see.
James, give me an appraise check to see if you can tell what what kind of creature, as far as the scale, came from.
Sure. These have been my best rolls thus far, so.
I would hope so. You are the merchant.
It's literally what you're meant for.
Big
22. I
As
appraise.
you take a second, this concept of a dragon scale that can be bent with a thumb, that's unheard of. As you kind of look at S's hand, looking at it and kind of picking it up, bending it slightly. Something clicks as you're looking at it, and immediately, dragon wormling comes to mind as you look at it, realizing that this scale belonged to a probably young green dragon.
This belonged to a wormling. I'm gonna look at the skull next, and I'm gonna just connect the dots. That might be the what the young adult dragon is looking for.
Let's get moving.
They might be.
As Rolliman kind of says this, James kind of looking at the scale and the skull for a moment. The cart starts. You guys kind of start to get in the cart, and now are you going to head back to the town for a moment to recollect your thoughts, or are you going to follow the Landerkin, or would you like to wait till Essa comes back to make a decision?
I think we're gonna be following the other Landerkin, but let's wait for Essa just to be smart about it and get the entire thing.
All right.
So the general thought
Go ahead,
is we'll
James.
be following the Landerkin, the other Landerkin tracks, and if we come across that dragon, we let them know that there was a wormling skeleton by the waterfall, along with half-breed dragon and Landerkin eggs.
I suggest if we do, let me talk to the dragon.
That was the entire plan.
I probably have the best odds.
From the
things the clues we have, I believe maybe that unknown trail you saw was perhaps the wormling, and maybe it fought this Slenderkin, and maybe this Slenderkin's resting before it's going to eat the other eggs, perhaps, and maybe it's not a half-breed, but it is just the nest.
Well,
Hmm.
the eggs are half-breed, period.
Yeah, the eggs
So
aren't normal.
Are they not normal
So it-
dragon eggs? Is that confirmed?
Yes, that is confirmed.
Yes.
These are smaller than traditional dragon eggs, but they are too large to be Landerkin eggs traditionally, and they share what looks to be distinctions of both.
I see.
So it's some kind of hybrid egg. So no matter what, we're pissing off some dragon by taking
And
those.
granted, I would love to take one just to get it to the collective, because they'd pay a pretty penny for any half-breed dragon
But
egg.
the odds of death of us being hunted while trying to do
Yeah,
so,
right now it isn't worth it. We can share this information, though.
we can share. Yeah.
Selling the information can still bring a pretty penny.
I wish I had drawing or something as a skill. I would have made a sketch, but I don't.
Can I just give a chance? Can I just try and sketch out the egg?
Sure.
Well, actually, I believe all performance checks are charisma, right?
Correct. It is.
I have a high charisma.
Go
It
try
is
and
a
sketch it
perform
out
check.
then.
If you don't have the specific perform check, then it's a higher DC. Is basically what it is.
Yeah, but worst case, I fail and it's like one drawing. I just throw away the drawing. It's
you
not.
have,
It's an oval.
As I say, do you have paper and ink?
Fucking.
Because that's
I guess that's the
actually
one
a thing.
problem.
Yeah. That's a thing in 3.5 you gotta have.
No, but I can
Or
commit that to
calligrapher's
memory
kit.
with a brown egg with bright
Yeah, I know
green
what
spots.
like.
I have a bedroll. We can roll on that.
Well, there's
roll
other
again?
things I can get.
No,
There
you
are
can't.
spells that I can use to recreate what it looks like
Yeah,
temporarily.
I'll make a sketch later.
As you all say this, the one egg still sitting on the outside of the cave.
Yeah. So
Oh, we were
I
am I
we
just
were moving a
attempted,
while ago.
but I'm not doing it.
Well, I wasn't.
I was like,
Yeah. Okay.
am I just leading us down one of the other normal Landerkin trails?
Yes, and as we go, I'm going to sit in the cart and pray. Actually,
Okay.
because I have a feeling it's going to take us more than an hour to reach the other nests. Hopefully,
You have no idea.
Maybe
so
it won't.
I will be in the back of the cart praying, until we reach.
All right.
I'm going to be up in that time. I'll be tempting to swap out a spell.
Roloman and Essa, is it you just kind of walk us up beside the cart and Essa take the lead?
Yeah, because I have to follow the tracks from the front.
Yeah, I'll be driving the cart
Okay.
since he's praying.
All right. As you kind of sit up on the cart, BK kind of nodding and follows after Essa. Essa, you start following the tracks. Go ahead and give me a survival check.
All right.
Praying for an hour renews my spells, and I can change them out.
Oh hell yeah.
Well, James hoping that he'd get time to pray and get his spells switched out. Essa, being quick on the pickup for the Landerkin tracks, manages to almost immediately notice a couple of tracks that go off only about another 30 yards down one of the side paths on the forest. That seems to have a single Landerkin where the other two look to have gone off somewhere else, snoring in the open. With a couple of nests of eggs, about one or two eggs sitting in the nests, all seeming to be also protected by fire or some sort of giant fire beetles that seem to hum. These ones in an open area around this very large oak-looking tree that seems to expand out, giving a nice bit of shade. The Landerkin itself looks to be pretty normal. It's brownish scales. It's quite large and dopey look to it. The creature doesn't seem to be at all phased and completely knocked out, snoring quite loudly. The eggs themselves, as you look over to the side, all look to be about quite small in their size, and seem to not have any of these spotting marks, rather having like stripes on them.
Okay, so we can at least get a few male eggs and get that over with.
There's no spotted ones? Is that what you said?
Correct. Yeah.
No, they're all male.
We'll see. Okay.
If we want to wait the hour, I can swap up my magic and make this work out a little easier for us.
Two Landerkin wandered off. I don't know when they're going to come back.
Go for it then.
All right.
I can cast guidance one more time if you'd like.
No, it's fine. I assume this is at least going to be easier than what I was trying to stealth into earlier, like location-wise.
You can, yeah, you can go ahead and move another move silently. Except this time, you also need to make sure you have a hide check going at the same time, because you don't. I assume you'd want no other creatures to notice you.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
they're doing that.
perfect.
I'm looking out for the other Landerkin.
Okay,
I'll start watching out for the
man,
dragon
look at that.
still.
27.
You ain't hearing nothing. Essek was silent.
Rollman, go ahead and give me a search check. And then James, you said you're doing what?
Keeping an eye out for just up at the sky, because we might be near a big tree, which means dragon could land here.
Okay.
So,
All right.
It
So
didn't
you're
roll super hide, but on the bright side, the move silently should help make
Yeah.
up the difference.
so you're saying you're searching specifically for the dragon, or are you just watching for anything in the sky?
Watching for anything coming out of the sky, because
Okay, so spot
if
check.
there's one dragon here, there's likely to be more.
That's a fair opinion. Yeah. So give me a spot check. See what you got.
If it has a family, yeah.
Um.
We're doing good.
23. Okay. So, starting with Roloman and James. James, as you kind of start to watch about, you start to notice a couple of things here and there that are kind of something seems off as you look towards the sky. Again, the sound is still, other than the snoring Landerkin that's nearby, it's still almost dead silent. No birds, chirping. No creatures walking about. Last time, earlier when you were out in the forest, yes, the day prior, you had heard beasts walking about. Embermane were walking nearby at all times. There were creatures all about. Now it's still silent. And the skies, though, are clear as you look about. Roloman, as you start kind of watching for the green dragon.
I was looking for Landerkin.
Landerkin, sorry. Searching for the other Landerkin. You look about, and as you kind of seeing some of the very obvious tracks that seem to go off clearly heading back up north, you kind of looking around the area, especially keeping your eye behind you from where you had just left with the larger Landerkin. Nothing catches your eye immediately as you start to look about. You do notice that the multiple nests seem to be a clear indicator, though, that there are other Landerkin in the area. As you take a moment, keeping your eyes peeled.
There's not just one nest. There's multiple.
Oh yeah, there's like a couple of small ones, like with 1 to 2 eggs. So there's I said there was 3 of them, I believe, with 1 to 2 eggs in them each.
And they're all male?
Yes.
Damn, that's rough.
Essa, as you, after the last experience, not fearing that this creature could be something worse or the dragon could hear you, again, watching this whole thing, being careful, start walking as slow and as calm as possible. You start to try and move up without any issues, hiding into the shadows of the trees nearby. You circle around Landerkin, giving it a wide berth. The creature seems to, there are moments, give a weird snore and a roof as its eyes kind of open. It looks around the area for a moment, kind of looks about as if it's looking for you, and then kind of slowly, as its eyes close back up, it goes back to snoring quietly. A few moments go by as you get around to the creature and find yourself standing in a collage of the three nests with about 1 egg on your left, 2 in front of you, and another 1 on your right. Each of them keeping that very simple brownish and grayish colors, and again, very striped to show that male design.
Do I think I can safely get the 2 in the front? They're together, like in one fell swoop.
You look at them; they're about maybe a foot tall at most, and they look maybe like 5-10 pounds. The beetles seem to be pretty moving about. They don't seem to be as settled as the ones in the watery cave. Looking at them, you think you have a chance of getting them out pretty easily without disturbing the creature. You're definitely gonna have to take it slowly, but you think you have a shot.
All right, yep. Let's do it.
Let's see what you got for that sleight of hand.
Pardon me if you guys hear revving. Someone's in the parking lot being an ass.
No, we can't hear it at all. As you kind of lean forward and start grabbing onto the eggs, kind of expecting them to be heavier from the last one, you go to pick up both of them and almost immediately kind of pull up a little bit too fast. You watch as one of the beetles kind of gets up and flies away, giving its bright light illuminating. But due to the sunlight overhead and the fact that you're not in a cave, the Landerkin does not seem at all phased as it continues snoring quietly as the beetle just flies off annoyed at you.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
You pick up 1 or 2 eggs, one in each hand, and turn back towards the party, heading back. Again, Landerkin seems to slightly, hearing you moving about, you definitely notice it opens its eyes, but not spotting you for a moment. And it seems to kind of eye up James and Rollerman in the distance as you follow its eyes, kind of looking at BK in that general direction for a moment. It just kind of snores really loudly as if it's like warning, and then kind of closes its eyes back and goes back to sleeping.
Before it closes its eyes, I make us back up a step.
Okay, backing up a step.
That way it feels like, okay, they aren't coming close. I'm big.
Backing away a step, the creature seems to kind of focus on you as Essa manages to kind of stealth by the creature and gets away back to the cart with the 2 eggs as the Landerkin starts to snore. Rollman, as you kind of start to look about, you see on the other side of the clearing of this like central tree 2 other Landerkin kind of walking up casually, kind of eyeing you a lot, but not being aggressively attacking you, just kind of watching you as they come towards the tree and the other one to lay down.
Well, we have 2 male. Now we need to go get 2 female.
Well, technically, we need a female, because a second female wouldn't be for the quest, that'd just be bonus.
That's fair.
So, like, more female are optional, but we only need 1.
We need at least 1 female. Should we go find another nest?
I mean, we'll have to go find a female egg.
Let's go. I'll still try and pray to change this. That way you might not have to put yourself at risk.
As you start looking about for tracks, all of you go ahead and give me. Oh, whoever's looking for tracks, go ahead and give me a survival check to see if you can find any other Landerkin.
You know what? I'll help with that. I'll go ahead and roll. May as well. I got a +5 to this. Let's see.
Well, Cameron, you can't track them, I guess, if you don't have the track feed. There is a feed for it.
Yeah, no. Have fun with it. You got a 6.
It's no. He can pay. There's a thing because you can actually survival does include following tracks. It's just you can't locate tracks if you don't have the track feed. That's the problem. So, because I think that's the specific wording, isn't it, for the track feed?
I can go read the track feed really quick.
Yeah. Well,
I know they're finding them with and without the track feed. So
yeah. While you do so with a 19, and then what was your roll, James?
I hadn't rolled yet because I was figuring out the track feet. But...
A non-track feet person can only find tracks that are DC 10 and below.
Yeah, yep. Which these creatures are very large and very fat footprinted. These aren't very hard to track, as you've kind of found.
Yeah, but I think I got it because I did roll a 19.
Yeah. James, are you assisting? Okay, 16.
Yeah.
As Essa kind of starts to point out, look about, James, looking around for a moment, you spot the tracks from earlier from where the Landerkin had headed further down south, and had kind of tracked around the area. But as you kind of look around, you start to notice all those tracks seem to lead back to these 3 that you are kind of watching in the distance. Essa, as you kind of take a moment looking about, you start to look around, and you don't see any other unique footprints besides the ones you've been tracking for these 3 Landerkin. You kind of see some. You definitely can see clear signs of other nesting areas near other trees on the outskirts. But this seems to be the general area where the groups usually seem to gather for nesting and mating.
But you did say there's some other nestings that weren't the 3 that you saw nearby.
Yes. Yes, that's correct.
So I can at least take a look to see if they have female eggs.
Yep. As you guys kind of, I assume James and Rollerman continuing to follow on with BK after Essa.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. As you lot start to circle back around, following the tracks that Essa kind of points out, you find yourselves coming back close to that village, coming now down the western road. As you see a small, kind of dilapidated-looking, statuesque figure for a moment that looks to be broken down so much that it's really hard to tell who or what this creature was at one point. You see 2 Landerkin kind of curled up around the statue, and at the very base of it, again, another large egg that seems to be about 2 feet in diameter, and does not have any spots. It does seem to have only stripes. However, this does look to be a larger male egg, from what you can tell.
Let's just pass.
Not what we're looking for, and it does have 2 Landerkin around it.
Not much trouble.
Yeah.
Okay. Continuing on as you kind of give it a wide berth, you a lot come back to find yourselves almost circling back around to that village you had found earlier, the broken down one. You do notice now, looking at the tracks around there, something like a very large group of small creatures had come through here recently, maybe in the last hour or so. As you kind of start to look about, each of you almost clearly with the disturbing realization recognize this is a huge horde of what looks to be like a herd of Drak.
Again?
As you look about, though, you can definitely tell that the buildings have been ran into. What these creatures are look to be long gone, but they do have recently have come through here.
This might be on their
Good thing we didn't
migratory
camp here.
path. Good thing
Who's
we
rattling
haven't
up the Drak again?
I don't know, but we should maybe head back to town at this point. We've risked enough today.
We can at
especially
least-
with the dragon around.
We can at least sell the 2 male eggs. Yeah, give one of them to. Yeah.
All right. Give me some spot checks, everyone, just to make sure you don't watching out for creatures
Hold.
or any banditos or anything of the sort.
Make sure I got my modifier right.
Let's go.
That's a nat 20.
Nat 20.
Two nat 20s.
Jesus.
Well, I'm happy that I
I
don't.
see y'all.
This isn't
Come
my
on.
problem. Point.
Roll the chest and not
Oh,
enough.
Not enough.
As Essa kind of focusing on the tracks, looking about, making sure that these creatures are gone, having kind of flashbacks from the other night. Rolaman and James excitingly realizing you're not gonna get chased and eaten this time. You kind of looking about for a minute. Almost. You lot start to notice that each of the a lot of the buildings seem to have something glowing inside of them. Almost each of them that gives like a slight pulsating light in each of the houses. Okay, looking about as you pass by one, you see little glowing orange orbs sitting inside each of the buildings, and there's like stacks of like 6 to 8 of these things laying in like clusters.
Can I Arcana check those?
They look the same color as the fire beetles.
They do not. They are they're like the shell. They look to have like some sort of outer shell that's slightly see-through, where you can see something inside that's glowing. But the outer shell looks to still be kind of reptilian or like avian in nature.
I'd like to
Yeah,
check these. What would I need to roll?
Knowledge nature, knowledge arcana if you want to check magic, or if there's any mention of these items as a magical component. Nature would give you what the creature could be or what could have laid these. You could do a survival to see if you could just generally tell what this creature could be.
I'll do survival because that's my biggest bonus.
What's
Were
up?
these not here the previous time?
They were not. When you had passed by, you would have
Something-
noticed lights.
Either the
Something
the
just
drac
rolled through
looted
and laid
these, or like looted these and put them here, or they laid them. Is my guess.
Wow, coming off of the nat 20 with a 7.
James, yeah, you as Rollman kind of starts to describe this, you kind of get distracted with your thought and kind of listen to Rollman, kind of focusing now on the conversation, forgetting what you were just doing for a moment.
13 nature.
13. As you look over these creatures and hearing what Rollman says, something kind of clicks for a moment, and you immediately realize these are Drak eggs, and there's a lot of them.
How much do Drak eggs sell for again?
You don't know. You can give me a profession merchant or an appraise check.
I would say I'm gonna speed this because I saw how much Drak sold for, and eggs usually go for more. But I'm gonna be like, the Drak left not long ago. They shouldn't come back for low. We could grab some eggs and run off. Because I don't see any Drak, right? Like there's none by the nest.
Wow, nat 1 right after.
Well,
Jesus.
I see no problem with
That's
grabbing a
crazy.
few.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Grab
you.
a couple from the largest pile, and I'll grab.
Grab a couple from each, may as well, and keep it looking even.
I'll grab 2. Are they like small eggs? Like smaller
They
than
are
the,
each
magnet?
5 pounds, and they are about I'd say the size of about a softball.
Okay. Yeah, I'll
go
grab.
to
I'll
one
grab.
pile that they're
Because-
going to. I'll just
Okay.
grab 4 and just waddle back.
Well, we may not have
Greedy.
found a female egg. This could make us a lot of money.
It'll have to be chance because I don't think we can differentiate, can we?
Between Drak
Drak
eggs and Landerkin
Male
eggs?
and female.
Oh, no.
Male and
Drac
For
eggs.
Drak, with what Essa was able to tell, no. Essa knows that they're eggs, but beyond that, they wouldn't know enough about the species, and James has no clue. He's never even seen these on the market before.
No,
Well, let's
so
just grab a couple and hope.
Okay.
We have them.
Alright, as you kind of walk about looking around, you count almost 65 eggs in total that have been laid in these separate buildings altogether. How many are you looking to take?
I'm gonna grab
We
2.
load the
2.
cart?
Okay.
Let's not load the cart with eggs.
We don't want to overload if something happens on the trip back.
Yeah, so that's why I was thinking at most take 10. That wouldn't load the cart down too much with what we already have on there.
That's what, 50 pounds? Because 5-pound eggs?
Yeah. That'd
How
get us
about 6? 2 each.
Yeah, 6. Just do 2 sets of 2 for each person.
Okay.
Alright, that's fine.
Less chance of drac issues on the way back.
Feel free to add that to your inventory, or a couple of drac eggs. Again, 5
I'll add
pounds.
them to the cart inventory,
yeah, 5 pounds a
so I'm
piece.
keeping track of the cart inventory.
As you guys kind of start gathering these up, it takes you about a half an hour of like grabbing all of them together, kind of looking about, grabbing them in the most easiest way. North is towards Dragon's Crown, but you could also go off to off to the east or west and try to circle around. East would take you past a massive you'd have to cross a massive lake. West would take you kind of into the Drak's main territories and like coming out into the Dragon's Crown.
Yeah, we'll have to be careful. The drac did just go the way that we're about to walk past.
Yeah, let's be careful. I'll walk this time so I can tell if they come within 20 feet a bit easier.
Okay.
Yeah. As long as we keep the eggs hidden, we shouldn't have too many issues.
Yeah, I will make sure the eggs don't jostle around, and I'll cover them up.
Okay. I imagine putting it in your bedroll.
Well.
Sure.
Safety bedroll.
Yeah, the writing bedroll. The bedroll of writing is what that item's gonna eventually become. I guarantee it. Alright, yeah, kind of taking each of the eggs and like kind of patting them together into the bedroll and rolling it up as best you can to keep it as easy to keep together. You kind of grabbing it, roll them, and I imagine you're kind of sitting on the back of the cart holding it and while kind of watching for the creatures as the wagon's being pulled.
I'll set it down and make sure it can't move.
Okay. Essa and James, are you lot? Essa's gonna lead the party. I assume gonna start heading west with leading BK while James continues his prayer.
Actually, at this point, I'll walk.
Okay.
I'll ride driving for now and keep an eye out using what I can as I pray, because I'd like to have those spell slots if I need them.
Well, to pray, you have to have continuous. You can't be doing anything else for it to work.
That's fine. I'll walk then and not pray.
Okay.
We should be okay if it comes.
You can switch spells when we get back to town. And just
Okay. As you lot start on your way, heading west, following along the trail from the last time, kind of heading back towards that bandit camp, and planning to kind of cut north from there, you lot find yourselves walking through the dense forest, hearing the sounds of a very familiar young adventurer's voice with the sounds of 2 laughing women in the distance. Essa immediately recognizing the voice from earlier as the kid from the Adventurers Guild right outside. As you can hear him like on one of the side roads sound like he's heading up directly north. As you start to exit out of the village and start heading off to the west, about an hour or so passing at this point. You hear this kid in the distance, though, shouting and screaming bloody murder. Suddenly, the snickering of the girls goes from like kind of like light laughing that you all hear to screaming bloody murder for help as they seem to be running in some direction as the sound kind of carries on the wind.
I'll tell BK to ride.
Oh.
Yeah, we're gonna keep going.
And BK just kind of looking, taking in orders. He and Han run. Essa, you gonna?
I'm gonna listen and see if it's coming closer.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be search.
That'd be a listen check, actually.
Oh, listen. Okay. Oh, that's wisdom based too. Great.
Basically all of like the watching checks one way or another are wisdom based.
Mm-hmm. There's a couple of intelligence.
There's a couple, but most of them basically.
Man, you're not doing big.
The curse! It returns!
Since I'm also on guard, may I also?
Yeah, all 3 of you can roll if you want. I'm fine with it.
I'll listen? Okay.
Yeah. This isn't just one thing. Yeah, I mean, you can all pretty much hear this pretty clearly. It's just locating where they are is the problem.
Did you think we were going to run back and help them?
No.
Well, I did not want to.
I didn't expect you guys to run this route at all.
Hey.
21? 9? Alright. Essa, yeah, you can hear them, but due to the wind and not really being interested in whatever could be chasing them after the last situation, kind of ignoring it, kind of almost a predisposition to ignore the situation. You continue heading in the direction you were. Rolaman, your experience on the battlefield and as a bodyguard has left your ears very finely tuned to hearing what's going on. As you listen in, firstly you pick up a very loud clanging of metal items or objects coming from the same direction, giving you the realization with your battle experience that these people are either highly armored or whatever's chasing them is probably highly armored. Either way, not a good situation for you as you think about for a moment. But listening in, you can still hear that they are heading straight north, whereas you are heading west. The echo is because that you're picking up is mostly due to the hills and the lesser forest where you're at. You'd probably guess they would probably be maybe from rough direction about 10, maybe 20 minutes north of that village that you left, where Essa had pointed out the Drac were heading north.
He tried to do the same shit.
I will say we should be fine. I would still keep writing or telling BK to keep a steady pace. They're not going in our direction.
All right, I'll keep a spell on hand then, just in case.
I won't knock an arrow, but I'll keep my bow in one of my hands.
Okay. Kind of keeping up the eye, listening. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
As you guys.
Preparing a ray of frost.
Okay. As you all kind of listening and just preparing, waiting for Rollman to really give that kind of cue now that he's kind of locked in on the sound, listening in and watching for everything at the back of the wagon at this point. You all kind of with almost a higher stress and higher tensity in the air as you can almost cut the excitement with a knife. You continue. BK quietly walking as fast as he can. You eventually get to a point where you find yourselves back at that bandit camp, turning north, and the sound kind of fades with the winds. In the distance, from the earlier checks, you all can pretty clearly see now with a big clear blue sky above you, there's a large green dragon clan circling that area of the forest.
A clan?
You count maybe 12, 15 green dragons varying from full adult to like wormling, flying and circling the area.
I'm guessing they might see us.
I think we made the right call of not taking the egg.
That forest over there. We should be fine.
Yeah.
It's more of a there's gonna be some drama in that clan when they find out one of their clan members fucked an animal.
They will be known as the Landerkin fuckers.
Joking about this. Go ahead.
We have a story to tell at the bar tonight, gentlemen.
There was once a green wormling that fucked a Landerkin.
Joking about this and coming up with a story to tell, you lot continue on your way. At this point, remembering or knowing well that sundown means danger after the last time, you lot are very aware of the sun, watching about as it hits about 3 in the afternoon, starting to pick up the pace to get to town. By about another hour, you finally get back to town, just barely making it as darkness is starting to rise, and you start to hear the distant screams of adventurers. Roll them in with that earlier check, picking up a key sound of that the sound of that high-pitched kid and his group as the screams from earlier almost cut silent immediately as you enter into the town.
Do we have time to get rid of the eggs right now, or we would have to wait till tomorrow?
Most of the businesses, from your experience, are usually open until it gets really dark at night. And as it seems to be an adventure going on, a party going on in the town for celebration recently, you assume most town is going to be lively. As you lot are entering into the town, you do see the town is still celebrating. There are still many of the shops open. People are still very well dressed, dancing and drinking like they have been the last couple nights, or last night.
I wonder what the celebration is.
I have not a clue.
But yeah, so you see most of the businesses are still open at this hour, still celebrating. Though many of those who are working seeming to be slightly tipsier than usual, as they don't seem to be as avidly holding to their no drinking policy.
Perfect time to sell.
Yeah. As you lot enter into the lively city as it expands out around you, people celebrating. A couple merchant companies seem to be coming in. You lot can hear the music just basically going down every street of people just celebrating and laughing and having a good time. Where would you like to go?
The merchant companies, huh? Do I see that bastard?
Give me a search check.
Cause you know who I'm referring to when I say this.
I think they moved towns though. I'm pretty sure. Like they're not.
They
gonna
might
be-
have, but you know what? I'd rather be sure.
See what you got for
He's the
your
only
search
one.
check.
Look,
yeah.
yeah, he's the only one. I don't really care.
A
It's a-
dwarven
it's a-
blood
it's a
war
dwarven
can last
feud.
generations.
True.
It's a race thing.
It is. All right, what's your search check, James? There we go.
16.
None of that one.
As you look about for a minute, looking for banners, any markings of their wear, you can definitely see a couple of items that you recognize as part of this. This merchant's like normal items, many of them having his signature. As people see me walking around with like dresses, glassware, different minor jewelry bits and such. Nothing, but as you look about, you don't see the wagons or the company itself.
If I see you, Zarius, you're getting a fucking bill.
As you mutter that kind of
Capture us to
annoyed.
oblivion. As we move along to the guild.
Yeah, so where are you lot heading to?
We're gonna sell these eggs.
Where?
Where else to sell the? I don't know.
Well, the Landerkin are going to the innkeep directly.
One Landerkin. They wanted one of each.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she said she was also interested in buying extras that we find too.
So I could bring her the Landerkin if you guys want to go sell the fucking.
Do you know where? We can.
Yeah, we've been to the
sell
guild
drake
before.
eggs. Do they buy the drake eggs?
I mean, from your knowledge, after you've been here for a while, adventuring guilds are the easiest place to sell monster bits besides like blacksmith and like specific professions.
Unless you want to go specifically sell to the blacksmith or anything, which I don't imagine he specifically wants an egg. Probably just do the guild.
Okay. I'll grab the bedroll.
Alright.
Bedroll of eggs.
Okay. James, are you following after Rolman with BK?
Yeah.
Okay. As we're gonna follow you two first before we jump to Essa. Essa kind of heading off towards the town, or the. Oh, well, actually, Essa, are you splitting off from the party to go deliver the eggs, or are you just gonna wait with, or go with them, altogether?
I don't really have a reason
Go
to split you
together.
up.
Yeah, that's what I was asking
we can-
for. Okay.
There's no real
I'll just
reason.
have the eggs on me.
Okay.
While they deal with the wreck eggs.
That way, no one steals them out of our cart.
As you
Yeah.
lot kind of pull up, parking the cart off to the side, tying it off as BK kind of drinks from one of the open water troughs with a couple of the other horses, and a Landerkin. There's there's a drac that seems to be set up drinking that people have used for their personal creatures or mounts. Go ahead.
And I said, "Oh, it's a little drag."
Yep. Very well trained. Looks to have a little bit of battle armor on him and a small little little saddlebag on his back. As you lot kind of head up onto the into the guild, Hago immediately comes rushing up to the front, seeing you lot, and kind of excitingly looks over at you lot and goes, "Ah, what news do you have for me?"
A lot of news. There's, but I'm not sure all of it's good.
Kind of looks at you, kind of confused, as he kind of sets his very large like ale glass down onto one of the tables and goes, "Oh, don't tell me he's still alive and you didn't actually kill that dragonkin."
No,
What?
I think a green wormling fucked a Landerkin, and an entire green dragon clan is now searching the forest for him, and he
Jose.
may be dead.
Essa's confused about the he's not actually dead thing because she literally delivered his head and was waiting for confirmation that it was him.
Plus, we gave you that guy's head.
I didn't take anybody's head.
Yes, you did.
Wait, what?
In a sack.
No.
Hago, you came up to a
Must have
street
handed
and
off
took the
to
head.
you.
He looks at all of you and goes, "I've been out of town for like a day and a half."
Oh no.
Oh no.
What do you mean?
He took the kid too. Oh
He
no.
took the kid, the head.
He kind of looks at all you guys like very visually confused and stupefied, wondering what the hell
He's
is going
dead.
on.
He's very dead.
He's
But a strange
very
man
much
was
dead.
impersonating you.
Someone was impersonating you while you were gone.
He kind of flexes his arm, and you see the bicep bulges, and he likes that and goes, "Someone can flex this?"
Yeah.
Perhaps with magic.
Fake flexing.
He kind of turns and looks back at the guild, the gal behind the counter of the guild, and she just kind of shrugs. And he kind of nods and looks at you. Goes, "I'll look into this. That's."
Literally,
However,
we weren't paid to take care of
guess
this.
what? Essa still has proof because she never handed over the locket.
Right, you didn't.
Yeah,
I'll pull out the locket.
the locket that he was always wearing, apparently.
The one that's it's still. I assume are you gonna be popping it open?
The moment Essa makes sure it's there and pops it, make sure the picture's there. She wants to make sure first that nothing happened to it.
It looks to still be there. Nothing's wrong
He'll
with
go,
it.
well, the good thing is I didn't hand over all the proof, and I'll hand this one to Ago.
He kind of takes it and looks at it and goes, "Why do you have a picture of Zurit's heir?"
That was on his body.
That was on his body.
You see him kind of look somewhat confused, as if there's a hamster wheel turning. It's trying, but it's spinning out.
And the kid was with him when we found him, and we brought him back and gave him to the fake you.
It's a whole jumbled mess, is what it is.
Kind of close it and goes. Kind of hands you back the little the trinket and looks at you and goes, "Huh, something must be going on here then." That would explain I wonder if that has to do with the assassination attempt on a couple of the Dragon Lords.
Assassination.
The what?
Yeah, we found some kobolds in the meeting grounds of the Dragon Lords. Well, at least that's the rumor how it goes. A couple of my buddies on the guard duty were telling me about it. They said something like, apparently some kobold dragon kin snuck in under the order of the kobold's newly crowned king and was trying to assassinate like 2 of the Dragon Lords.
Oh, great. There's a whole jumbled mess now.
This is above your pay grade and mine, he goes.
Oh, definitely. I just wanted to warn you that there's a green dragon clan search in the forest that has the Landerkin in it, because we may have found a crossbreed between Landerkin and dragon.
Did you take the eggs?
No, we dare not
No.
touch those.
When we found the eggs, a green dragon was flying above us.
And we figured it'd be a bit dangerous personally.
The only green dragons in the area that exist in these parts are in Nolathon swampland. Hago looks at you all confused. He goes, "There shouldn't be green dragons here."
We actively saw the green dragons flying as a whole clan above the forest.
A whole clan above the forest.
Huh. It kind of looks. It kind of turns
We even
back.
found. I mean, there was even the skeleton of a dragon in the area.
We have the skull. It's out in the cart.
He kind of looks at you and goes, "Don't." He kind of looks at James and goes, "Don't say that out loud ever again." And he turns back to the gal at the that's sitting behind still standing behind the counter and goes, "Let the superiors know and get these gentlemen their payments." And he kind of turns back to you, and Hago suddenly is like deadpan serious. He goes, "Finish your jobs here tonight. You don't want to be in town by the end of the week, I have a feeling."
Fair enough. On lighter note, we have some eggs to sell that are not related to that at all.
Yeah, drac eggs.
Oh, Teluasi's looking for some drac eggs. I think I have a
Perfect.
quest value
All to
on
one
here.
person.
He kind of looks about, goes over to the board, and kind of comes back with a quest, like a big quest, like piece of paper. On it reads, or has a picture of a couple of drac eggs. It just says a pair on it. It says down below reward of about 1,000 gold pieces if you can bring 2, or if you can bring a live pair, they pay for the actual market price.
So she only says 2 and not like any extras.
Yes, correct.
Okay, well we have 6.
And he looks at you and goes, "Well, I mean, you could sell them. They make great for magical components. A lot of people use them in studying magic. Drac make also great familiars. And
I'm guessing. I'm guessing Teluasi's thing mentions specifically like a breeding pair, like male and female.
Yes,
or-
on the quest it does. Yeah.
We'll probably have to bring the ever differentiate them first.
Yes. Are they able to differentiate between male and female if they were to see them?
Hago looks at you and goes, "Well, it's actually based on how they're hatched. If they count female and male. Males hatch under heat, females hatch under cold. That's why in the cold times we have more females, and during the heat we have more males."
Oh, that makes things far easier.
We can cause this a lot. This can be dealt with very easily.
In other news, while we were in that forest, we found some ruins, and I'll point to it on the map.
Kind of looks at it for a second, goes,
I was leaving that out. God damn it.
It's
Nope.
information that we could sell.
Fair.
Perhaps name it. You never know.
Yeah, there are some. It's marble, carved out of marble and whatnot.
He kind of takes a second and he goes, I don't know of any settlements around that. Huh.
There's also a destroyed settlement on the way that we came across on the way in, and I'll point at the rough location since we didn't mark it down actively.
Yeah, looks
Yeah,
at
seems the Drac are using it as a place to lay eggs.
Interesting. He kind of nods along with that and as he looks at the map and goes, there shouldn't be any villages setting up at this point. Malvasi has given a directive not to the citizenry is not to leave the city for the time being.
Well, it
They're
wasn't being
very
set up;
old.
it was destroyed,
Yeah, the place looked old, raised.
rotted
Okay.
away.
I wonder. Yeah, there's an old rumor, but I doubt you'd want to get involved in it. So it's probably not worth your time. He kind of waves it off, and he goes, Hey, what other? Were there any other quests you lot had managed to
We got half of the Lander Connect.
Yeah,
quest
Essa is like literally holding 2 male Lander Connects. We didn't find any female ones. We got 2 males.
I do recommend delivering those straight to Telasi. She'll buy them for the market price. The quest reward is for half market price.
Okay.
Interesting.
All right.
Yeah, that is interesting.
It's a difference between the fact that we take a finder's fee on higher charges for quests, and we can only give the quest to people of certain capabilities. Anytime we do it, have them posted up on here. Value is what determines the quest difficulty. The higher the coinage, the harder, the less likely you're to find a common adventure.
Well, then we should probably just deliver the Drac eggs to her directly too.
Your choice. There's a couple other merchants in town that'll buy direct eggs though for top dollar. Like I said, they're great for magical components. You might actually be able to sell to some of the nobles around the area because they'll buy it to use for their own casting capabilities.
Can I roll Knowledge Arcana on them now to see if I can figure out any usage for them?
Sure.
Maybe able to sell the highest bidder then.
And make sure I know my bonus because I'll forget it if I don't check. 19.
You would know that most commonly drac eggs, like most draconic-like creatures, their eggs are used for spells in general. They can be used as pretty much a spell focus or a spell component that requires a live creature as a component for any spell. However, most commonly, these are used to create what is called a universal spell, or a spell that does not follow a specific school of magic. As Drek are not capable of casting to a specific school, but seem to be very potent in magical capabilities. For their, they have very large mana veins naturally.
All right.
Well, not my problem to think about. I'm not exactly the person hired to sell things, so this is kind of just hanging out.
All right. Well, it's still good to know because that means that certain people, anyone who is trying to study magic or whatnot, may be willing to buy it for more.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure we can find a buyer.
We can sell 2 of them though too. To tell.
You just gave up.
Yes, I did at that moment because like.
The new nickname, Tell.
Tell.
God damn it.
All right, let's head back to the inn, drop off what we need to, and then
Sell to her what we need to, and then get a night's rest and head out in the morning.
All right. As you lot start to head into back into town, heading up the road, as laughing, joking, all that can be heard, you find yourselves back at the inn known. I get it written here. The inn known as the Frozen Bed, of course, ran by Telu Aussie, who James has yet to remember. I've probably said that name more than any other character at this point.
I have remembered it a few times separately. It's just whenever I'm thinking about something else and I try to think back to the name, it's like, nope.
As you kind of find yourselves back at the stable, you find that kobold from earlier is no longer there, and there is a drakekin that looks to be somewhat larger than average, but also looks to have a very forward-looking face. His his lower jaw kind of pushed in slightly, and his upper jaw kind of pushed out. Very brownish scale coloring, with a couple of mixes of black stripes as he kind of welcomes you lot in and takes BK, handing him an apple, and immediately starts to go to brush him without even looking to talk to you guys. The Drakekin seems to be somewhat looking almost cautious when he looks over, or whenever you look at him.
Completely fair.
Extra pay. He didn't want to talk. Get into his fucking copper, and that's it.
You give him a copper, he kind of takes it, and you see he puts it in a pocket, doesn't check it, doesn't bite it, just tosses it into a little coin bag on his side. As he begins to work on BK and get him set up.
I think the other kobold might have gotten shot.
Look, I'm sorry. Whenever I hear a brown kobold of any kind, I know he's not a drake, and I just think of the fucking kobold king. Fucking
mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm thinking of the Landerkin now.
As you look, kind of head up the 2 sets of stairs, kind of winding your way up to the second floor onto the Frozen Bed Inn. The inn seeming pretty lively as people are drinking, dancing. A live band of bards that seem to have been visiting from out of town seem to have stopped by and set up. The area is popping off. A couple of tables, though, look to have been set off to the side. Telossi kind of points over to one, and you see your names are like set on one of the tables with a reservation.
Oh. All right.
Well, we've been coming back here every night for a bit, so.
There you
go. As she kind of points you over towards it, she eventually kind of finds her way towards you lot. As much of her wait staff seems to be out and about, kind of dealing with a lot of the customers, you notice that she wasn't really out, more kind of standing behind the bar pouring drinks and talking to people. But as she kind of comes over as you sit down, she smiles and greets you immediately. Good to see you. How is the hunt out there? Of course, I assume you. As she kind of looks at, gives Roldaman a wink, a side wink. She goes, "I assume you didn't have any hard times wrangling any more drac."
Nope, no troubles.
Well, we did bring something in for you. I'm gonna gesture to probably the eggs that are being.
The bedroll sack.
Yeah, the bedroll
sack.
The
bedroll sack that is sitting on the table now as we would unroll it and reveal.
She looks at the bedroll sack and looks at James and goes, "You're not really my type. I like him a little bit more tall and mysterious." So she kind of again gives another wink towards Roland.
That's fine. These are not these. That's not what this is for. I'm just gonna open it, lay it out so that she can see the drac eggs.
Her eyes, as you open it up, her eyes immediately light up as she sees them, and she goes, "You know what? Perfect. I just got an order." She starts picking them up and like looking at them and kind of like weighing them for a minute. "I just got an order for a direct scramble from Movasi himself for my chef. You have come at the perfect time."
Movasi himself. Wow.
She looks at you and she goes, she kind of looks up at she kind of starts setting the eggs into a basket, looking up at you for a moment. She goes, "Yes, my servant. I'm a well-respected chef, if you will, and so is my my right hand in the back. We are one of the top cooks of the entirety of the Movasi Empire. It's why we are brought here to open an inn." She kind of smiles.
A high honor.
Having your service.
She smiles at that. She goes, "You should be. Movasi loves my my rack of rock heap lamb chops, as well as the meat pies we serve."
Hearing the rock heap chops, those were delicious. Comes into
you have an addiction.
He really likes some poultry.
We're gonna get to a city that doesn't have those, and James is gonna have a horrible time.
She looks about.
No, he likes all food.
She looks about you and she says, "Well, you'll be hard to find them anywhere else outside of the capital. A lot of the other lands aren't as big as seasoning their food, and a lot of the lands heap to simple cooking as far as it goes. Unless you got some good inns, it's very rare you'll find good eats in most places."
We also have.
I might have to start taking up cooking myself.
Some Landerkin eggs, and I motion to Essa.
Holding them.
She looks
Not
over
a
and she goes,
pair, sadly, but 2 male.
Are you looking to sell them as eggs, or are you looking to sell them as to be hatched?
What's worth more?
More up to you. Yeah.
She kind of gives
That's-
as Rollman kind of says, looking up Rollman for a second. She kind of smiles. She takes him in and she looks at you and she goes, "Well, I'll tell you what. Since it's 2 males and I'm not gonna be able to. It's gonna take them a while to get what I want. I'll give you half price for the cost of them, which would be 1,250 gold pieces a piece. So 2,500 gold pieces together for the 2." She kind of looks you up and down for a minute. And then for the drac, I'll give you 1,000 for each egg.
I believe that is market price, right? Was 1,000.
No, market price for a living drac is 2,500 to 5,000.
But the egg.
The egg, I mean, it kind of comes down to you. The egg, as far as a cooking item, is cheaper, but it does have magical.
Yeah.
It is a magical component, so it depends on how to.
I'll defer to James on the drac eggs since he might be able to
Okay,
get a better
so-
price from a merchant.
You can try.
I'm.
You can try and appraise the
Well,
eggs
no.
again.
You know what? I'll try to appraise the eggs again. Let's see my terrible. Let's see if my luck holds up.
Let's see.
Yeah, no, that's a 2. I'm not allowed to appraise drac eggs.
1,000 gold pieces sounds like a great deal to you, James.
That's fair. The drac eggs, yes. The other ones, the Landerkin, you got me a little screwed up on the numbers. So that's 6,000 gold period for the drac eggs. That's an excellent price point at this time.
So
And then the Landerkin eggs.
she's offering you 2,500 for both of them.
And the quest
2,500 gold.
was, I know this is not our circumstance, but for male and female
Well,
was.
Well, no, we
How
didn't
much?
bring back a breeding pair. So that
yeah,
doesn't
so
matter.
for
I understand, but I'm trying to gauge the price of it was.
So on the quest for the breeding pair, let me see if I posted it for you a lot. She was looking for. I don't think I actually posted the price for you. So mine, for what I've got written in here, she was looking for a breeding pair for around double what the market price for 2 females would be. So that would be basically 10,000 gold pieces. For a breeding pair. Huh?
A quarter of that for 2 males. I say that's pretty fair. They haven't wronged us, and we can continue. We can drop looking for berries, especially with that Green Dragon clan around. I think we should probably and with Hugo, or it's Hugo, right?
Yeah, Hoggo.
Hoggo's warning. We should probably.
Yeah,
stick
plus they're going to be paying us some more apparently at the guild for the information. From what
My
she said.
apologies. The price was 20,000. Not. Sorry, I was looking at double checking my note because I see I misplaced my comma. So it was 20,000 would have been for a breeding pair is what you would have gotten.
An 8.
Yes.
I don't know if that changes very much. What is everyone's opinion?
She's treated us well, and it's better for a merchant to have people that are to make friends with people right now, since we're lower on the rung.
I'm literally
will
scared.
go. I'm
It
going to
was-
say, make it an even 9,000 total for everything.
Oh, okay.
She looks at you for a second. Give me a
Profession mercantile.
No, I'm gonna say diplomacy. Actually, hold up here. If I remember right. Give me a second. So different. This is you know what? I'll tell you. No, yeah, I'd say give me a bluff check for this.
Oh, great. This is either going to be a +1 or a +2.
Meanwhile,
Charisma,
I'm over here with a +4 to bluff, just not saying anything. It's not my job.
Nope.
Well, this isn't really a bluff either. This is.
Oh my god.
For that price, we could also go with a round 2 Tiliwasi and give her a wink. Did I also roll?
God damn.
You know what? I'll give you a bluff with. I'll give you a +5 to it for the if you want to try.
Plus
for
5 to my already bluff that I already have.
Yep, on top of it.
Go for
Okay.
it. Go
That's-
for it. I
Look,
don't.
Cameron, you laugh. We use every weapon in our advantage.
I am fully fine with this.
I hope you realize it's giving me a plus 11 to the bluff check.
Yeah,
Let's
I got
go.
you.
Let's go. Yeah.
As you state this, giving her a seductive wink, you see this blue kobold with her bright scales suddenly her cheeks go bright red, and you see the most bashful appearance as she kind of puts her hands down in front of her and puts them together, and then one foot kind of up as it or standing on its toes as she kind of spins it, fully knowing she's eating out of your hand. As she looks at you, she goes, "I'll make it 9,000." As she nods.
Yep.
That sounds fair to me. If that works.
She picks up the eggs and kind of starts to walk off with them as she puts them into a big basket and kind of walks away. She comes back a few minutes later. She sets down a sack of coins. You notice everyone's eyes are on you guys with this big sack of coins now on your table. Everyone is staring at you a lot.
I'm going to take it quietly and put it away. I will split it. We gotta split
it
this,
later.
so I'll do the math. Yeah, I'm gonna do the math on how we should split this, because one of us is still working on commission, but we can also just split it evenly.
I say, as a personally earns 2,500, I'd make an even 3,000 each.
Yeah, we may as well. 3,000 each. That sets us up really nicely.
Turns out hunting monsters pays well.
Not even hunting monsters. Stealing eggs.
Yeah, stealing eggs is a very lucrative business.
Especially from a creature that has the ability to notice you with a +1 on it.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's still really dangerous, apparently, for some fucking reason.
James, as you kind of put the coins away, the bag down onto your pack, setting everything kind of aside.
The coins. I literally just pull the bag onto my lap in front of me, and I'm not leaving this table.
Okay.
And no one is getting near the table at this point. I'm like,
Oh.
I'm not getting robbed. Damn it.
As a few minutes later, some food's brought out to you lot. Again, the same thing you pretty much been ordering every night gets set down on the plate. Telossi leaving a secondary key on Roloman's plate as it's brought out. You are able to sit down and enjoy yourselves to a nice meal. It costs thinking you're gonna it's gonna cost you something. You see immediately that she has put it as on the house for you lot, not charging you a cent.
I raise my glass.
As you do,
We got it for 9,001 gold.
Yeah, she blushes again as she kind of focuses back on her customers.
I'm gonna pat Rollman on the shoulder. You have fun tonight.
I intend to.
And then I dig into my hamburger. Hamburg steak.
Well, should we recount our story to the whole inn?
I don't think telling that story right now would be a good idea.
We don't have to tell the whole thing. Stories are half-truths, James.
Feel
Then
free to
you
tell.
have some fun doing it.
What were you gonna say, Asa?
I said, feel free to tell as you wish. I'm not gonna stop.
I will lean over. It's not wrong to talk about dragons in that such way of them having such affairs, right? I'm not well versed in dragon knowledge.
I feel like Essa, off the top of her head, could be like, dragons are incredibly prideful.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it comes to telling the story.
Basically, if James told this story, it'd be like basically saying the president just fucked a cow in front of everyone. It gave birth.
That's why
Then
So-
perhaps we
was like
save the story for another land,
A land
We
that's
could-
not Dragonland.
especially not the capital.
you could easily tell this story in the Giant Lands, and they'll get a laugh out of it.
They'd love it. Yeah.
As
I'll
you
save
lot
it for the Frost Giant lands. Then.
Yeah, as you lot are kind of sitting around, kind of contemplating this, you see as a few minutes go by, or as you're talking, you see a very gallant-looking, large elven Goliath-looking creature, almost identical to Roland, but slightly bigger, and more muscular, very well armored, and elegant, bright armor. Not not military armor. Roman almost immediately picking up on this without even having to roll. This is a very well designed suit for showpiece. As this person comes in, a large greatsword on their hip, a very fancy loot on their back as they come in and seem to order up some meals and sit at the bar chatting up Teluasi.
I am going to make. I know who this is now. Royce, your NPC. He's beautiful. I'm not going near him.
I would say, all right, DM, what's the Dragon Lord doing here, man?
Orm was unaware of this, but he's gonna go meet one of his kind. I'm not aware of his disguise. And this person is very identical to me, which
James
I
is just immediately, that's a Dragon Lord, looking around, seeing if there's any more.
You don't. As you look around, give me a search check, James. As Roman's
any more that are really that big.
Roman's standing up, James kind of saying this. Essa, I assume, also mentioning this, or no? Is Essa staying quiet?
No, I'm giving you a question first.
Okay.
I'm not calling him out, but it's just there.
Give me a. I would say that would be. That'd be survival, for that.
Okay. I mean, if I fail, I fail.
To search any more
Okay. 18,
Dragon Lords out.
I fail. That's 12.
Essa, you don't smell. You don't smell it at all. There's not a scent coming off of this guy.
That's even more concerning.
It's first only thing you catch is like the normal like smell of like someone who's bathed regularly, basically. Which is a little alarming to you because that's not something you normally smell. But
okay. I imagine like creature is like, oh, I can smell the kobolds, and there's just a void.
Yeah, it's almost like a slight like a perfumey scent comes off the gentleman, but nothing like specific, nothing that identifies him. James, you look about. You don't see any other unique figures that like stick out, but you do catch something kind of weird. As you look about, a few of the kobold, like dragonkin and drakekin, that are off kind of near the bard stage, which is about the other side of the bar, where it's a lot more loud and active, and people are kind of being a bit more boisterous. About a group of 7 or 8 of them all seem to have these weird markings on them. Each of them seeming to have a black scale with a hammer, like almost tattooed onto their scales, as they seem to be eyeing you up.
I know what this is. Okay.
I'm not part of any of this.
But as Rolloman's standing up, James did mention that he thought that was a Dragon Lord. As he says that, Rolloman, are you going to stop, or are you going to continue walking over?
I was like,
they seem like some sort of disguise, or this person like seem like they're flesh and blood and not a fake.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you. Let's say if you're just trying to tell what they are. Or
yeah, if they're truly, this half elf, half Goliath, because that's what I'm interested in, because that's what I am.
Trying to think what would do that. I guess that would be
sense motive.
I will give you sense motive. Sure, why not?
Okay, sense motive. Alright, that's a +3.
Because it does count for body language, so yeah, you'd be able to tell from that.
It is just cold reading a person. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good old cold read. I'm not really cold reading very well today.
So with a 10, roll them in. Because you know your people. Yeah, I know. You know your people well enough. You know what your people look like. This is one of them, but the armor's kind of is very weird. You recognize that as strange, as your people don't wear like fancy. That's a showpiece. This isn't a battle piece. This is something that someone who's had crafted only to show off their wealth, not to show off their capabilities in battle. Which that kind of cues you as weird, but you definitely could. Looking at them, they're flesh and blood. They definitely are what they are as you look them up and down.
I'll walk over.
You walk up to the bar and you notice that this elf is. I'll just use elf to kind of save us time here. This half-breed here, rather, is chatting up Teluasi, who is gleaming red, like she is bright red pink on her face, and she just kind of looks over at you and she goes, "Rolloman, I'm gonna need that key back for tonight. I think I'm gonna be a little busy."
I give a hearty laugh and I hand it over.
As you do,
not bruised at all.
She smiles at you and kind of nods and puts it away. Obviously not trying to hurt your ego or your feelings any more than that. She kind of walks away as she notices you looking at the guy. He kind of looks at you and goes, Aren't you attractive? As he looks you up and down. Give
No.
We're gonna end up in a three-way. Have
Give
fun.
me a will save.
Oh no.
Would you say this is a enchantment?
This is technically an enchantment.
All right, I get a +2 on this then. Which is good because that gives me a total of +3.
Bro, I have a +0.
What's your plus? It's a plus.
+3.
Oh, you can't even beat the DC, buddy.
Oh, I rolled another 5.
Ouch. We're gonna have to find a better dice roller in the future. Remind me of that. As you go, kind of try and resist this, you find yourself almost hearing these words and find yourself very relaxed around him. Not like seduced, but like almost as if you're talking to a long-term friend, someone you've known for years, that you've been at war with, you've been there with, that knows you through and through. It's almost that immediate kinship, Rollman, that you haven't felt in a long time. As this gentleman looks over at you.
I appreciate that, brother in blood. What
Okay.
brings you here? You come a long way, I assume.
I am traveling currently, dealing with the irritations at court. My person who hired me has asked me to do some damage control. I'm looking for someone specifically.
Really? Personal headhunt. It's a mighty job.
He nods and he goes, yes, there's a warrior I'm actually looking for. You may have seen him, actually, if you don't mind my asking. I'm happy to pay you for any useful information, as he kind of looks you up and down.
Do tell.
Have you... It's a long shot, but as an adventurer, I figure you've probably had more experience with world leaders than I probably will ever in my travels as a common, simple adventurer merchant these days. I do mostly small, like, dungeon quests and such, which are not worth it, by the way, for the payout. He goes, are you familiar with the Dragon Lord Yaki Roxer?
Oh no.
I had seen a poster in the Adventurers Guild, but other than that, no.
I mean, technically, we've met his protege.
He looks at you and goes, interesting. That's unfortunate. I need to warn him. He's got an assassination attempt coming for him from one of my enemies.
Your headhunt is for this so-called assassin, I presume?
Yes and no. I was hired to track down Yaki and then protect him. As part of my job. So, from the assassin, the specific assassin I'm looking for, he is a you might recognize him if you see him out and about. He is a undead kobold who was recently hired. Black scaled, kind of shorter. Really undead. You could cut him up, chop him up, beat him to death, and he doesn't seem to be phased.
The one we did meet that sat at the table did not look undead, did they? They were just a normal person, or normal looking, correct?
Yeah, other than them being larger than average for a dragon.
So those descriptions do not match.
His head's smaller.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. Sadly, I have not seen anybody like that. I'm sure if anyone had seen some sort of undead figure, they would not be walking around amongst us with a little chuckle. But if I do happen to see such a figure, I'd be sure to tell you if I run into you again.
He looks at you for a second and goes, I appreciate that. In fact, actually, kind of digs about in his pockets for a moment, and he pulls out a scroll for a second. This is a one-way spell that sends a 5-worded message. It's a customary thing I've recently managed to get my hands on. It's a first-level spell that's quite useless otherwise, unfortunately, because you can't reply back. If he hands it to you, just let me know what you can with this when you find it. The scroll will burn up when you use it, so forewarning.
I raised my eyebrow at it, but it was a noble gift. I appreciate it.
Kind of smiles at you and goes, for one of our kind, it is only true that we manage to stick together in our hunts. Is there anything maybe I can assist you with, in fact, actually, since you are being so open for me?
Something trolls me. It's muddied waters, but after a job we recently did, there's been some sort of confusion because we did a headhunt personally because I'm not sure if you're aware, but someone tried to frame me and my associates' company in a bad light, and we were able to track them down and take their head back in. But whoever we turned into apparently was not who we thought they were, and it was a whole mess.
Yes, the city is infested with gloom, with plenty of gloom disguising themselves. I've found.
Gloom.
He looks at you and goes. He nods. What's up, Essa?
Essa kind of perks up and sniffs the air and just looks up. And just...
Yeah, you do at the table, James. You kind of take notice of this, kind of still
I'm
eyeing up
gonna
the
look
gold.
up with her. I'll take a quick look up as well.
You see the second floor. You look up, you see a ceiling, a very simple ceiling where, and of course, you know the second floor is above, where the actual inn rooms are.
Where did he put
the
where did James put the sack with the skull in it?
It's still on BK, so it'd still be on the wagon, I'd assume.
Correct.
I'm just gonna glance up and then glance towards where BK is and like pat my sack and hope he gets the message.
As you look at James.
What?
James, give me a sense motive.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it out loud. This is not something I should be saying out loud.
Yeah, so this
you
is.
could say you can go check the cart.
No, give me a sense motive, James. Let's see what you got.
If you don't understand, I'll drag you upstairs.
17.
17. James, you get the sense that us is trying to point you towards like the BK and like in the cart, like something as they're tapping on it and looking up. Like there's something, and you kind of start to think for a minute, and you realize the only things in the cart at this point that are new that would be something to flag would be the skull and the scale.
I'm going to pass the coins off to Essa under the table.
Okay.
And walk out to go check on the cart, checking on BK at the same time.
Okay. As you do this, so you notice the group of kobolds that were near the bards earlier. One of them kind of stands up and kind of starts to head out, and then pulls out what looks to be some sort of like kind of basically like a joint, like a little wrapped piece of paper with something inside of it, and like casts a little firebolt or a fire spell on his thumb and starts to smoke it as he seems to be eyeing up from the balcony, James, as he goes about. But the other 7 or so that you see at the table as you look back don't seem to have moved and seem to be continuing to enjoy their drinks and talking.
He's not full. He's just watching him, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Roloman, you also kind of notice this as the guy's not trying to hide it as you're kind of having this conversation with this elf.
My eyes would immediately dart to the magic, and I'll turn to him. Do you know what these... I'll be a little lower in speaking. Do you know what these band of kobolds are doing here?
Kind of picks up the ale in front of him and chugs it, and you see a little bit of redness on his cheeks kind of pop up as his black hair. I will mention something that kind of catches your attention. His hair goes from the bright blondish to almost a black as he finishes the ale, and he starts to kind of and gives a little bit of a light belch. Almost as if the magic, like something like he either just cast magic on his hair to change it color, or something like the effect just changed it. He kind of looks at you for a moment and goes, and he kind of smiles and goes, "Oh, they came in here earlier asking after some snow dwarf fella. I thought they were asking about some guy named Zarius, something about Goldenheart or Ironheart Merchant Company. I don't know." Apparently, one of the leader of the merchant company ended up pissing off the guy who runs this big underground underworld group, like mob organization in the city. Apparently, he irritated him because he claimed they killed the guy. He killed his like right hand or something like that. I don't know. Yeah,
Do you have any sort of tie to them, or could give them a message? Because I can tell you that it was most likely the Gold Heart.
He looks over and goes, "I mean, I can pass on the message for you if you're asking for a favor."
Yes, as the thanks for me being open with you.
He smiles and goes, "Tell you what, let me buy you your next round." And then he nods his head as he stands up and walks over, and you start to see he towers over you. Roll him in. He kind of turns and starts to walk over, and he puts his hand on the sword that and you start to see him kind of pull it out, and all of you, minus James, start to sense magic filling the air a little bit. Not to high intensity, but it is clear enough that something is coming off this guy's sword that's giving off a lot of magic. Essa, as you casually get up and kind of putting the gold, siding it into your pocket, so it's not obvious, clear that you have a big sack of gold on your hip.
Make sure my hand over where they have to grab the gold from.
Yeah, you start heading up towards the staircase. We're gonna come to you in a moment here because I know what you're trying to do. James, as you head down the stairs, you do notice that someone kind of follows you out, but as you look back up, you just notice the kobold from earlier, seeing him, recognizing him from the table, is just standing there smoking. Not really eyeing you up as you look at him. He seems to be just casually enjoying a quiet smoke outside as he looks out into the darkness.
If he intermediate eyes, I just give him a kind nod and continue off to the cart.
Yeah, as you do, you come around, you see the Drakekin is still sitting there petting the kobold with a brush. Kobold. The BK, man.
There's a K
BK
in
is
there.
now kobold, everybody.
I know, right? This is sober, by the way. As he's like sitting there.
It's great.
Yeah.
A Drakekin brushing a smaller kobold is just my head.
Am I aware of the interaction between the kobold smoking and James? Like,
you can.
James went out, the kobold also went out.
Yeah, you would have noticed it. The guy didn't hide it at all when he did
Since
that.
I've lost my drinking partner, I'll go up to him and ask if he's got a smoke he could share.
I mean, to be fair, then within like 30 seconds, S walks away abruptly.
I'm to basically just to occupy him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you head up, James, as you go to the cart, seeing BK being taken care of, Roland kind of heading out of the bar, kind of standing outside. All of you give me a listen check real quick.
Sure.
I roll something.
I'm not using that roller anymore because I keep getting fucked by it. That's a 21.
Okay.
Hey, there we go. That's what you like to hear.
No, I used my good rolls in the thing I was paying the DM about. Damn.
Oh, I've rolled in the wrong chat. My apologies.
I saw that light up that DM gave.
It might be a bit appropriate, you know.
Look, DM, at least it's in DM chat and not in like one of the other campaign chats. It could have been so much more awkward.
It's adjacent.
No, I was looking up something earlier when I was in that chat while we were at the start of the session. I forgot to jump out of the fucking thing.
Right. It is adjacent to what's going on right now.
I mean, I'm gonna keep the rolls. It's not like you guys can't see the rolls, so it's all fair.
No, we can all.
Yeah. As with your, I was like wondering why all of you why I couldn't see your spot checks. I was like sitting here looking at this.
I refuse to ignore that.
Alright, roll them in with a 19, Essa with a 7, and James, what was yours?
21. I'm gonna start typing it in there.
I'm still focused on the thing I was smelling, I think.
Yeah, Essa, as you start walking up, kind of ignoring everything, James being at the bottom and Rolamin, both of you being on kind of high alert, having this adventure's kind of put you on concern. The dragons in the air, the whole clan freaked you up pretty good enough to keep you on high alert with this situation. As you guys are listening, and as Roman starts up a conversation with the guy who's smoking, kind of just casual, asking him about his day and night, average stuff.
I'm asking for a smoke as well.
Yeah, as he hands you a dream lily plant joint and kind of lights it for you with the spell, as he kind of just discussing some of the stuff he does for work as a soldier.
With the spell, that's what I'm gonna latch onto and talk to him about.
Okay. Yeah, as the two of you are kind of talking with each other for a moment, and then James, as you kind of head down, checking on the skull and the scalp, finding it still in the sack for a moment. Both of you hear a loud, breaking of glass as you both turn back and see both the windows for the front of the inn have been completely shattered. As James can't really see up because it's 2 stories above him and he's short as is. Rolaman, as you turn and look, you see all the 7 of the 8 kobolds, being the one that was the one standing next to you, are all decapitated now, currently laying on the ground, splayed out, as the elf Goliath is now walking out of the inn with a smile on his face.
Well, all right.
He kind of comes out, looks at you, and goes, "That should take care of that." And you see the one standing next to you as he just drops the joint on the ground and just kind of nervously starts backing up and walking down the stairs. He is going to make a dex save, or rather a reflex save. Okay.
Dex make a trip attack, I believe, or something like that.
yes,
There was like a rule on trip attacks.
Thing.
It is
Trip
a
attack.
thing. It's been a while since we've had to use a trip attack, but that is an actual thing because it's a
Make an unarmed melee touch attack against your target.
Yeah, so trip is a trip an opponent. Let's pop down to it. Alright, so making a trip is make an unarmed melee touch attack against your target. So you do have to hit their, basically their touch AC.
Which
I
is
believe I get a bonus since I'm a category size larger. +4.
You would...
I'm considered a size larger because of our build.
Yeah, you are, so yes, you would.
So it's a touch attack, which is dex, right?
Yeah, and you're tripping with your hand, not your sword, correct?
I'm with my foot.
Yeah, so, okay. Well, yeah, I'm saying, though, like, you're not using a weapon. Okay, yeah, then would go ahead and roll as an unarmed.
It's, I believe, just my base dex, right?
If your attack succeeds, makes a strength
and
check
attack
opposed
bonus,
by,
yeah. So that's a +8.
So it's going to be opposed by the modifier. Actually, it's not a reflex, surprisingly. So, which actually gives me a shot.
Oh, shit.
No longer does that give me a shot. As
Also,
you... yes?
Touch attack is just, it's not dex rank, it's just a normal roll for you. So it'd just be your fucking
Oh,
strength.
so that would be, let me see.
It's still a crit.
No,
It's the same.
Yeah,
it's the same for strength and dex. I have the same strength and dex.
Yeah.
For trip, it's actually specifically towards, yeah, it's a touch attack still, though, against your target. This does provoke an opportunity attack, just for reference from your target if if it fails. So.
Yeah.
But as he starts to back away slowly, you put your foot out and you watch as he stumbles backwards onto it, and he like nervously looks up at you and like kind of like crab walks backwards towards the stairs as he kind of scrambles to his feet and runs down the stairs, running into the darkness of the street. As James kind of comes up, James, are you picking up the skull and the scale, or are you just gonna leave them there now that you've confirmed they're still there?
I'm gonna wrap them in my bedroll as well.
They were in a sack.
They were in a sack. Yeah, they were in a bloodied sack. Well, the
I'm
skull
wrapping it in a bedroll as well and just setting it deep in, sort of back in the back corner of the car.
Okay, so just note, your bedroll will be ruined if you do that, because it does have liquid of another monster in this sack that's like completely contaminated the sack. So you are putting basically these like a stench of monster blood.
Buy a new bedroll.
Okay. Just kind of want to make sure.
I will. In the morning, before we leave, I'll talk to Telewasi and buy a new bedroll.
Okay, no worries.
You got the name right, didn't I?
Yes. Telewasi, yes, you did. Good work. As far as it goes, as you kind of grabbing up the stuff, putting it into the bedroll, not really caring, you wrap up the scale and the skull into it and start heading up. As you see the kobold kind of vault the second floor of the stair railing and like jump on the ground and run off. I imagine. Yeah, I imagine Rollerman is kind of like snickering. Imagine at the top.
Watch your step. Don't know what you're gonna run into.
As you say that, you see the tall elven figure kind of snickers at that, and he kind of pats you on the shoulder with his heavily metalled hand. As you see Asa kind of come bounding out the door and out through one of the broken windows that have now completely shattered and it's cleared. Huh?
Asa just goes, "I'll be back."
Yeah.
Wait.
Okay.
What about the coin? Where is it?
Room.
As Essa goes charge, Essa, are you going to be chasing after the kobold that's running, or are you trying to get in touch with this dragon or this elven gentleman?
The person I'm pretty sure is a dragon.
He's still. You don't have to chase him. He's standing here right next to Roland.
Yeah, he's right next to him.
Yeah, the guy who ran was the kobold kin with the blacksmith mark on him.
Yeah, if you're gonna chase the kobold, I was gonna toss you my club and let you.
No, so I'm gonna walk over,
and
I'm going to Is anyone else standing like near where he's standing other than like Rollerman and
just Rollerman and James at the as he's coming up the stairs?
I couldn't help but overhear the earlier talk, being my companion and all. I think I smelled your target above us.
Kind of looks at you for a moment and goes,
I can double check this if you'd like.
You see the biggest smile on his face suddenly appear that he is clearly not hiding, as James mentions that coming up to the top of the staircase, and he goes, "Would you know?"
And I would say, I know that smile.
The scent of undead are pretty easy to differ out.
You know, it's
And I
funny.
will look at
I can't
his
smell
sword.
anything. Oh,
That is a mighty blade. I am a bit jealous of myself.
kind of looks it up and down and goes, "Oh, don't be. It's not the sword that's the impressive part." As he kind of smiles, he goes, "I just use it as a catalyst because everyone thinks I'm a warrior when I walk around with it." He points to the loot on his back and he goes, "That's my actual weapon."
Have I ever heard of a
Undead
elven
warriors,
or
You have
one
not.
of these half elves of a that is a bard?
No, in fact, it's pretty uncommon for most what would be considered a simple race, and to put it kindly, to be at all magically talented, or magically. Sorry, not magically talented. To be performance
Musically
talented,
talented?
musically talented. Thank you.
You have a great gift, and I sincerely compliment them.
He looks at you and goes, yes, my people did not truly respect it, so I gave up. I took a vow and gave up something in exchange to continue my gifts and to understand the practice." As he kind of looks at you,
I nod, and as have I.
kind of smiles, and he looks back at James and goes, "Now, would you be willing to take? Or you said you wanted to go take a look for me."
I can take a sense for you if you'd like.
I just shake my head no, and I'll mouth gloom.
Cameron, can you stop trying to run towards things way out of our fucking prerogatives?
I mean, all I was
Please.
gonna do was simply attempt rebuke turn undead, because then from the room, because I should be able to do it from there and have it and notice if there's an effect.
Also, has the scent left in the time that Rolliman kept talking to the guy?
You can still
Or is it-
smell it. It's still coming from upstairs.
Okay.
I could do it from right here,
I mean-
but I don't trust this guy.
I'm just gonna look at the guy and be like, I can just lead you to the smell.
He looks at you and goes, "I can tell it's up there. I'm the reason it hasn't moved." It's currently trying to figure out its way out of here, I'm guessing, if I had to.
A cornered animal, we should not get involved. So this seems outside our capabilities.
As you finish that, suddenly Essa, the smell is gone.
Oh.
And you see the tall elven figure seems to kind of look a little bit more serious at the same time. And he kind of looks to each of you then one at a time before you get a chance to really speak up. And as he looks around, he goes, "I think it's time I retire for the evening to change down where this the creature is finding itself. I'm very curious about its source, and as it seems you lot may not be up to the task at this time, I don't want to risk your lives unnecessarily. If you ever need me," as he smiles, and he kind of holds out his hand, "call me Diamond."
I'll shake his hand. It's a pleasure.
I think that confirms
Look on your
everything
quarry.
Essen here.
And kind of shakes your hand.
James already figured it out, because at this point it's like, yeah, no, that's why it was turn undead. If it doesn't work, it's outside the pay grade, and just be like, yeah, it's undead.
I'll give him a nice handshake. I'll see you another time, brother.
Ian, while they shake the hand, I'm gonna kind of like go to scratch my neck and just under the my overcoat, because I have like the duelist outfit over, just a little mark of a soldier from the land of Diamond's death. As I just stare at this guy and I just cover it back up.
Give me a sense motive.
Okay.
See if you notice if he at all reacts to it.
Say I know what class he is. I don't know if I can roll high enough to, unless he rolls really crap. Let's see my sense motive. Am I even good at sense motive? I know I have at least a +3, but
I don't remember if skill checks can be critical successes. I know the saves can be critical successes and fails.
You still have to match the DC no matter what, or beat it. So.
yep. I suppose not quite my thing. No. Look, that's a no.
I can pull it up, but I'm gonna be honest. I know for a fact you can't. That's not. I can beat that without one try.
He can roll as high as I want. I know when Essa knows when he called himself Diamond. That's everything I needed to hear.
With a sense motive, let's see. I mean, there's still a chance I roll badly.
Isn't that one?
That's basically a dead giveaway.
You.
Giveaway.
You cannot tell if this gentleman reacts to you immediately, as it seems to. You do notice there's a slight something there for almost an instant, but you can't tell enough to know if that was just him reacting to someone else or if that's a reaction to you as you look him up and down. However, something does catch your attention with that. He's not a dragon. You are 100% sure he is not a dragon.
I don't believe this.
With that 8. Nothing of his features gives it off as you, and nothing of his body language speaks dragon as you kind of look him up and down. Something's off, but something you can't put your finger on it with an 8.
Look, I know he's not a dragon, but as personal, I'm pretty sure he's not what he's showing himself as either.
I mean, given the fact that you saw his hair change in the middle of him after he finished a ale, yeah, you're pretty clear to know something's up here.
And everything else I saw that I was rolling for you in the background, yeah.
But as he kind of like shakes your hand and kind of smiles, giving his kind of starts to walk away to leave. He kind of starts to walk down and disappears into the night, almost unnaturally into a dark alley. As the armor you would expect to gleam seems to almost dissipate. And he vanishes completely as you are all left standing out here in the semi-cold, dark afternoon or evening. The clouds are clear, but the sun has set at this point. The boisterous laughing has started back in the inn.
Now I'm looking in. Do I see the decapitated bodies still?
Yeah, as you look over, you suddenly notice the bodies just lying about as some of the waiters have come out and some of the busboys have started carrying them into the back.
So
those kobolds were going to either beat us to death, stab us, steal our money, one of the above. But I managed to discuss with my friend there.
I was asking Talasi to slip them some Dream Lily from the big bottle.
Rolaman, you know your friend there was casting a spell on you like the entire time you were sitting at the bar.
Seemed like a friendly fellow. I did not seem harmed, do I?
Look yourself up and down. You're clean. There's no wounds. There's no injury. You were not physically bothered. Your mind's clear.
But yes, I agree. Powerful man.
But powerful I'd make, given what I believe him to be. I'm going to go turn in though. The sensitive items are more wrapped up.
As James has the bedroll in his hand.
No.
Oh, he said he put it in there.
Yeah, I know. The bedroll with it in there. That's what I'm saying.
No, he said he put it in there and in the cart.
In the car. Oh, you were leaving it in the cart. Okay, my apologies.
Yes. He's doing an extra layer on it.
That way there's less scent leaking out of anything.
I'll give him a nod.
Alright.
But, we can split the funds once we're all upstairs.
I won't be busy tonight, but yes, I'll be there shortly.
You don't know, with him leaving, who knows? Maybe Talasi will call you back in.
I may or may not re-accept. We'll see.
Do as you will. I'll hop up like a short kid patting a senior in high school's shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Getting a little jump up and pat before landing and walking inside.
Yeah, as you walk inside, you see Talasi writing something on a board, updating a special of a mystery stew as you see the kobolds are being dragged into the kitchens. Or into the kitchen.
Oh my god.
Listen, you eat what you can.
I don't think I'll be eating mystery stew.
Well, I'm glad I had to do it tonight.
I already ate, luckily. And we'll be leaving tomorrow, so...
As James heads up towards his room and goes to pass out. James, you find your room untouched. Oh, go ahead.
I'm waiting for them to come up so we can split the coin properly.
Before we go up, I look to Essa. Thank you for having my back. That is quite nice of you. And I'll hand them 100 gold.
Oh, alright. Yeah. I mean, it's just my job.
That you didn't have to do it there. We were on a break, if you would call it.
I suppose that's fair.
You get paid for working here, damn it. This is a good company.
Oh no, I can trust you during hardships.
So we'll just nod and then start walking upstairs to get the coin dealt with.
As both of you kind of start heading up, Roloman, as you head in, you notice Teluasi is also seeming, after she finishes writing on the board, seems to head out the back and disappears.
Okay.
As you lot head up towards
To make the stew.
Yeah, as you head up towards Essa's room, James kind of coming back out and going, meeting Essa, coming into Essa's room where the coin has been sat in. You all kind of sit down. It's the same room as yours, except for with a single bed instead of two. As you lot look about, you see the table in the center of the table, or center of the room where Essa set up the big bag of coin. Yeah.
Go in
Split
and
it up.
count out, splitting it 3,000 each way.
Okay. As
This
you
should cover anything we need to get, and I'll probably need to buy a new bedroll in the morning.
Noted.
all right. As you split up your coin, are you guys just gonna head off to bed, or you want to do anything before bed?
I would like to spend a little bit of time before bed working a bit more on the blowpipe.
Okay.
I'd like to get that, try and get that finished as soon as possible.
Okay.
Craft, woodworking, don't. That's a nat 1. That's a
Man.
4.
Um.
God.
Thankfully,
I'm
not-
not break this.
yeah, you're good enough with the skill that you do not break your pipe. But after a few moments of like really like bad whittling as you're working on it, you finally realize it's just not happening tonight. As your eyes are closing and it's not coming out cleanly. You set the pipe down and lay down.
Yeah, I'm setting it back in the bag, and it's going. Fuck.
I'm not getting this blow
trying.
and
No.
Sue.
Hey, I'm halfway done with it. If I get 2 more decent.
By next year, you'll have it finished.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be a great project.
I'm gonna spend so much time on this. It'll be masterwork just because the sheer amount of time spent, not because it's been any good.
Essa, what about you? Anything you want to do before you go to bed?
No, because the only downtime things I have to do would take like a week,
Mhm.
and I'm probably gonna do that on the road.
Okay.
My downtime things is not for inside a room where you can't really swing a sword, so I'm going to bed.
You can start
Okay.
doing push-ups.
No, that's
Work out.
okay.
As you sleep through the night, it's quite peaceful. The night goes on without much commotion as you all kind of come to awaken the next morning. Meeting down in the lower room, you of course get informed that by one of Teluasi's waiters that the Drakekin stayed the entire night working the stables, so there wouldn't be any issues. And you are brought out a simple portion of breakfast on the house yet again, without any question, as you lot kind of enjoy yourselves waking up, figuring out what you want to do with the next day, now that you've kind of...
I will flag down the one that brought us food and order, and see if they have if they have a bedroll in stock, along with a water skin to replace mine that's currently filled with mimic blood.
He comes over and goes, yes, we've got, we sell base adventuring gear for all sorts, if you're looking for it. He kind of takes a second, kind of goes, bedrolls. I think a bedroll, if I remember correctly, we charge 2 silver pieces per bedroll here.
That'll work. And a water skin?
He goes, I think I can get one. Let me see if I can wrestle one up. We had a couple kobolds that we got some free gear in from yesterday, so I should be able to wrestle up yourself a water skin. Let me look at my prices. I got one for 3 gold pieces.
That's doable. And can I get 5 days of rations as well?
He nods and goes, yep. And he goes, do you want mystery stew or just our normal set?
The normal set, please.
Wow, no one ever wants the mystery stew when they're here the night before.
I wonder why.
I give him a kind smile. That's because it's not quite a mystery to them.
He goes, he kind of smiles at that and goes, 5 silver pieces per ration. Kind of looks at you up and down.
A
2.5 gold.
of 2.5 gold plus the 3 gold plus the 2 silver. So I'll just hand him.
Hand him 6 gold.
Yeah, I'm just gonna hand him 6 gold, and I'll be like, keep the change.
Okay, yeah, he takes it and he kind
I'm
of.
gonna send you the 3 things I want to buy from the adventure shop. So I figured I'd just write them out while I was doing that.
Yeah, he brings out the caltrops. Let's see. That is he lets you know that'll be here. It'll be easy for it, but it'll be 1 gold piece for the caltrops each. A whetstone will cost you. He mentions up to a silver piece for a whetstone. And for a climber's kit, he mentions or he states they do not have any in stock.
Okay, I'll pick one up somewhere else. That's fine.
Oh, wait, I do have one more question. Do you have a bag of flour you can sell?
I'm sure Nan has flour.
He looks at you and goes, "Flour?"
Yes.
Kind of takes a minute and goes, we have flour. He goes, what color?
I'm asking for the cooking ingredient flour, so
I know.
think it only comes in white or brown, so...
No. You can try and sense motive to see if this guy's talking about the same thing if you want to.
I would like to, yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because... I'm getting this for a reason, sense motive... I've lost it on my sheet for a moment. There it is. Sense motive... 10.
He, as you are kind of looking him up and down for a minute, you get the sense that he is not talking about the same thing in the slightest, as if he doesn't have any idea.
Don't worry about it. Never mind. But thank you.
Kind of looks about.
I say that with a kind smile.
Kind of looks at each of you with a blank look on his face.
I'll take a rose, please.
Are you gonna leave it for telepathy?
No.
1 gold piece.
Sure thing. I'll hand him a gold.
He comes back out with a rosmium flower and hands it to you.
Oh, shit.
For reference on what that is, I will post it in the chat just for your own notes.
Don't tell me that that I can buy magical cooking ingredients here.
For healing potions.
Yeah.
Am I aware what a rosmium flower is?
I think I am immediately.
Most adventurers would know. They'd also know that these things cost quite a lot, and most nations will harvest them for their armies. And if adventuring guilds are selling them, or people are places are selling them, that means they're either in abundance or they are buying them on the black market.
I will hide my knowledge of this and say thank you. At face value.
He kind of smiles and the very blank stare in his eyes still as they kind of close and open one like each side. He kind of nods. Yeah.
The lizard blink.
No, there's no lights on in the house as you're looking at this poor young kobold, and he kind of turns and goes back to his work as he goes back to serving customers. As you lot are still sitting around this table enjoying your breakfast.
I'll go ahead and pin it to my vest.
All right. As you do, you've got this brightly colored red flower on your vest now.
It's a great addition to my outfits for being a merchant.
Good.
Yes.
It looks good.
As you are kind of looking up and down, a few minutes go by. Breakfast wolf down. What would you guys like to do?
We need, with where we're heading next, I should probably pick up some cold weather gear, but I'll pick that up from the guild when we get the letter there.
Some extra rations as well. I feel like it'll be more than a couple of days.
I grabbed 5 because we can also do hunting on the road.
That's true. We should be fine. Yes, I agree. We were going to head down to do the letter, yes?
Yep.
Okay.
Retrieve the letter and pick up any other supplies we may need from there.
Alright, so as you head...
I would like to stop by Igus and buy some vials as well, but that's not a necessary thing right now.
I mean, as you pass by, as you lot kind of discussing this and coming to agreements, Essa, did you also have anything you wanted to add? Sorry.
I need to stop by the apothecary for something, but I'll PM you about that while they deal with that.
Okay. As you a lot kind of start to head down the side road coming towards the main fork, you do see that Egu's shop is off to the side is now closed. It looks like it's been abandoned completely. As you kind of circle around or kind of go looking through the broken glass, you see that most of the shop has been like torn down, the materials, all the magical items taken out, and it looks like it's been abandoned.
Well, damn. I'll go to the regular apothecary and pick up vials then. Sad for the man.
Yeah.
He was funny.
Saying that, you head down the main road, coming across the side apothecary as you and Essa kind of head in, James. What are you looking for, James?
3 things specifically. Let me pull up my little list here. I'm looking to get some. I'm gonna try and get an alchemist kit, an alchemist lab to put into the cart, and just vials. Those are the 2 things I actually need to get.
Okay. As you go in, he does sell vials, as you find out. He kind of looks at you for a moment as this young kobold that looks similar to Igu, but without the wyvern such strong wyvern features. He pulls out a few flasks. Give me one moment. And he goes, two copper pieces each, and he puts out 5 on the table.
I will hand him a silver I'll hand him a gold to break down to silver and tell him, tip yourself an extra bit too. Extra
Okay.
silver piece.
He takes the coin and smiles gladly with it and pockets the item or the coin almost immediately. He looks as Essa, you bring this up. Wait a minute, I'm trying to find the book and where I put it.
Poison making.
Yep. I think I.
There is a whole page if you want it about poison on Forgotten Realms for 3.5.
Yeah. Is there?
Yes.
Do you have...
I can send.
Yeah. So I was gonna pull. I thought you were quoting from the book.
These are from that book. This is
Yeah.
just the giant page.
So I was trying to find where I uploaded the book because I thought I did.
Guessing he didn't have.
Oh, here it is.
The
Found the book.
Yeah.
sale, the thing that other thing I was looking for. So
That is correct. That's why you only put out the flasks. So.
Oh, they're vials. So
Yeah.
still good. 5 vials, right? They're still good. I can still.
No, these were flasks. So these are full flasks. They are not vials.
Oh dang, that's even bigger.
Yes.
So they can hold more liquid.
Yeah, so as he kind of helps you out with it, give me a minute. Yeah, Chester, I did not have this prepped ahead of time, so you'll have to give me a second to look for poisons and everything. So, because I don't recognize that first one you're looking for. So what page is that from?
Because that's it's called Drown Knockout Poison. But...
Oh, okay, that's the full. I was sitting here, I'm like, I don't recognize the
yeah,
fucking
you just
knockout.
I didn't write Drow because the Drow aren't really a thing in your world.
Yeah,
yet,
but
so
if you put that down, I know what you're looking for.
Yeah, it's a surprisingly cheap poison craft comparatively.
Yeah, okay, that makes life a little easier. I see what you're trying to. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
He kind of looks about his equipment and kind of brings out what looks to be a bit of knockout poison in a single flask, and he looks at you and goes, 90 gold piece.
Wait, he just brought the poison itself?
Yeah, in a vial.
Because I was asking for ingredients to
Or a
make it.
flask. Yeah, he just puts the flask out.
How many doses is a flask? No, a vial is 1.
So there are, I believe it's, for a flask, it's, vial's 8 ounces. I believe flasks are specifically listed at a little bit more.
Vials
a flask
carry 1 ounce.
Oh, yes, you are correct. A flask is considered up to 8 ounces.
I'll buy that for 90. Yeah.
8 doses.
Yeah, he hands it to you, and goes, and kind of nods, and then looks for the other. He starts digging through his equipment for this creature, and as he kind of looks about, he kind of comes back up to the counter and shakes his head no, as he looks at you.
That's fine. I got one of the things I was looking for. That's good enough.
Kind of nods. Right. As you two turn, Rollman, did you have anything you wanted from the apothecary shop?
Nope. I'd be back at the inn, gathering everything up in the cart.
Yeah. As you are gathering the cart together, you would give me a search check real quick.
Okay.
Is a +4.
Hmm?
Oh, I almost did it in the team game channel.
Don't do this.
Seven.
Everything's there as you gather up everything and chase after the party to meet the whole group back at the Adventuring Guild.
Sounds good.
You all find yourself standing out front. Hago kind of talking to some strange dragon, dragon or koboldkin, dragonkin, as this bright, like almost white scales with very almost like paladin, like heavy plate mail or heavy plate wearing.
Does it look similar to the armor we saw on the elf last night?
It does not, as
Or what I'm
it looks
gonna
to be
fondly
very
call a
simple.
gelf.
Yeah, it looks to be a lot more simple in its design overall and made of almost pure iron as you look it up and down. They seem to, as you kind of catch up to, or kind of come up the stairs to Hago, nod and dismiss themselves as they walk off. Hago kind of turns to you lot, looking as if he hasn't slept in days as he has bags under his eyes. He looks at you, goes, I hate politics.
That's why I tend to avoid them.
Anyway, we're ready to run your letter.
Oh, are you taking a skyship or are you going with like a merchant crew or what's your plans to set off?
We're gonna take this cart and we're gonna walk there.
We'll pick up a ship on the way down.
It's across an ocean.
We're gonna get out.
Yeah, we'll get a
forgot
ship
about
when we
that.
get down there.
Okay. Kind of nods. And goes, well, if you're smart, I recommend seeing if you can hook up with any merchants that are going down south. Always good way to pick up coin as he kind of digs out a letter out of his pocket and hands it off to James.
If there are any willing to let us tag along, definitely.
Kind of nods and goes, I wish you the best in your travels. I have a feeling Dragon's Crown is about to get very difficult in the coming days.
I wish you luck in that, and if we can help in any way that we can actually handle, feel free to try and send us a letter.
He kind of chuckles at that and looks at you a lot and goes, remember, Thread is his name. That's where you're going. You're sending this to Thread Stoneaft. He's the Adventuring Guild leader down there.
Okay.
Thread Stoneaft, Adventuring Guild leader, give letter. Got it.
And he goes, here's your 150 gold pieces up front.
That is appreciated.
And he kind of looks at you and goes, the rest will be handled by Thread.
Is it thread as in, like...
It is
Thread.
Thread. Thrid.
Yeah, he literally wrote it in chat.
It's third, but with R and I switched.
Yeah, the R and I switched.
I was making sure because I'm adding it to our quest book.
Yeah, that's fair.
You're good.
And I'm putting it as main quest for right now.
He nods and goes, I wish you luck on your travels. The politics are getting spicy. I hear down south in the Frost Giant lands there's a potential invasion going on. Be careful.
Cool. So if we're not in the middle of it when we get there.
Not unless you can get there in the next 2 days, as he kind of smiles and turns back into the Adventuring Guild as he waves you off.
Before we leave, I'm gonna go in and buy the cold weather gear.
Oh,
Good
great.
idea.
Yeah, as you kind of push past, as Hago kind of goes to shut the door, kind of pushing aside the door and kind of going into the guild gal, he kind of looks at you confused and just kind of goes about his business.
Giant. I might be a snow dwarf, but I don't want a fucking phrase.
As you say this adamantly, and he kind of looks at you and just kind of shrugs his shoulders as he looks back at Rollman and Elsa and goes back to going.
He doesn't like the cold.
I'll go
I
nods.
travel for a fucking reason. All the snow's a problem.
The Adventuring Guild gal behind the counter, she kind of chuckles at as she hears you coming up to her. As she smiles at you with the biggest, warmest smile as she could, she goes, that'll be 8 gold pieces, if you will.
I will get that out and pay her immediately.
She takes it.
And I'll add that to my gear.
Yep.
Before I leave, I suddenly remember and I rush back in. Oh, do you happen to have a bucket? We seem to have lost ours. We need a replacement.
She kind of looks at you confused for a moment and goes, I mean, I've got a wood bucket for a gold piece I'll give you.
Roman's like size is like that'll do.
She
Not the copper bucket Da made, but you know what? It works.
Fucking,
Still
the
holds water.
fucking bucket.
She puts the
Marking that
wooden
quest as
bucket
checked
down,
off.
very confused by the sudden approach and the very urgent need of a bucket. You can see wheels spinning in this woman's head. She's trying to figure out what you're gonna do with said bucket, but kind of gives up as she takes the gold piece.
All right, bucket secured.
You hold it up in the
Good.
air.
Do you want me to mark it in the cart?
Yeah.
You good? You can put it in the cart. Yeah,
Now.
you go in.
When we find the well, we have the bucket and the rope.
Yes.
As you guys head out of the guild, the town seems a little bit more somber at this point, very quiet with the early morning. The guards, many of them just waking up, and you see as the gates are opened as people start leaving the town. What's your guys' plan?
Going to see if any. I'm gonna do a quick ask around if any of the traders are heading south.
Okay. As you kind of heading towards the gate, you see a couple of carts, a few groups of wagons, seeing the Golden Hand Merchant Company popping up with their large group starting to head out in front with a full mercenary company, a small army, if you will, following them out as they head out towards heading south. You see another smaller merchant crew kind of pop up in the background as you see a tiny kobold that stands at 2 feet tall named Ashak as he introduces himself. Ashak kind of explains to you that he is heading down to the fortress of Carmen to do some trade with some of the giants down there, and hopefully get a chance at getting to do some dealings with what the giants have found in the Underdark. He tells you he'll pay you a silver piece to travel alongside him and his 2 sons that he has in the back that you don't see. You do see the back of the carriage kind of wobble back and forth as you see people moving stuff, or seem to be moving stuff inside, but you can't see inside of it. It's got no windows out the side of it, so.
Could do a sense motive on this individual.
Is a bit above Gold's Ruin, correct?
It is, yeah, a little bit further to the northwest.
Okay, because we could head to Gold's Ruin and probably get a ship to get to the start. We can do that.
Yes, a 5. I'm doing great.
He seems to be telling you, no, he doesn't seem to be lying or telling you anything that would give you a reason not to trust him.
Also do a sense motive, though, because...
Okay.
Is it a team sense motive?
You can all do it if you want.
That's wow.
You got a 5 too? 5 buddies.
Okay, Essa, would you like to take a shot?
No, I got a 9. That's
Oh,
the thing.
sorry, a 9.
Hell. I'm rolling low now. Essa, please make sure we aren't getting bullshitted. Please.
You want this to come down to me? You've made an interesting choice here today.
I trust you. You are
was
my
no
first
choice.
employee.
All right, let me make sure
First
I get my
employee. You're gonna be about employee of the month if you do good here.
You get a small portrait of yourself put up on the cart.
Let's see how this goes. Yeah, that's better.
Holy shit.
You're working towards employee of the month right now.
Also, give me a second. I stood up a little too fast and fucking just lost my entire balance. Fuck. It made me cough.
I have the highest wisdom. Yeah, for my wisdom check things, I keep rolling.
Joke's on you. Essa's good at reading people.
Essa, as you look onto this guy, as you take a moment, and as you're reading him up and down, he seems to be telling the truth. He doesn't seem to have any hostility towards you. It's almost as if he's not hiding something. He's not trying to hide anything from you. He's just not outright telling you because you didn't ask. Is what you kind of pick up on this guy. It's almost as if this dude doesn't have a very high social understanding amongst people.
Now, does he seem like he wouldn't care if I brought it up?
Well, he's definitely dressed like a merchant, but as you're looking him up and down, he definitely doesn't seem like the type to mix words. So you get the understanding from that sense motive that he's probably more the type to be blunt with and upfront with if you have a question.
Okay, so is something going on that you need guards? Something we should prep for?
So my daughter, I'm kind of catering to. It kind of takes a second and goes, You can imagine I don't want people knowing that I've got a woman with us on the road. It can become problematic.
Slowly.
Not even realizing with Essa as he's not like blatantly looking you dead in the eye, Essa.
Hey, look, his ruling, just like him. If he doesn't ask, I'm not bringing it up.
Yeah. He goes, it's dangerous to have women out on the road in these times, and she's very fair when it comes to her capabilities in battle.
I mean,
my sons
fair
are
enough.
big, not trained. As you see, both of the Drakekins suddenly kind of step off of them. This like tiny kobold older gentleman that you're kind of talking to, these rather kind of hefty-looking Drakekin.
I'm going to
Okay.
pat Rollerman on the back and be like, well, Rollerman here is pretty well trained. Maybe he can give them some pointers while we're traveling.
As you go to reach for his back, give me a reflex save.
I'm patting Rollerman's back.
Oh, Rollerman. Oh, I thought you said the merchant. Okay, never mind. I was about to say, like, dude, really?
That'd be really dumb.
Touch the stranger.
Yeah, I was like, really? Why are you touching a stranger? Please don't touch a stranger.
I'm touching my friend's back.
Patting Rollerman.
Yeah, as you pat Rollerman's back, he looks Rollerman up and down and kind of gives a. You see him like eyeing you, Rollerman, and you're not sure, but you can definitely tell something's up there. As he kind of nods and looks over at James and goes, "All right, you travel with us. Gold piece a day. If you want, I'll up to 5, or I'll feed you for 1."
I look at them. I'm gonna look over to the other two.
How long is the travel down to Carbon's roughly?
Yeah. Can we estimate that?
It's funny. Here, as those in the recording, we take a quick snippet. You won't notice.
So yeah, that's gonna take you a long time to go.
So on foot, how far does a cart go per day? Let's see how fast that does for you guys. We can actually look that up because I think we have that in here. Cart.
If it's as far as I'd rather just be fed and not have to.
Yeah,
care.
it's they're not fast. So for reference, I believe when we checked it, I mean I can double check for movement again.
I don't want to risk renting an airship. That's the entire reason we're going this way.
You have enough money. You do know, and you would be able to look. You could ask around to see if anybody has an airship that's going, because you're only gonna be able. So for reference, it's about let's say 27,000 miles for reference. Just say rough measurement, save us time. A cart can travel 16 miles a day.
That is many days.
So you're looking at now. I'm gonna just do a rough
3-year
calculation of about a 3-year, because that's 100. No, actually, it's only 168 days.
168? Okay.
Yeah, it's 168 days to get the
half a year.
Where you're at now. Yeah, basically half a year, 6 months.
Yeah.
Whereas you would know that from a skyship, depending on if you could find one of the merchant tiles, especially the ones that would be traveling to Last Hold, they on average would be covering anywhere between 15 if it's a crappier or cheaper one to 60 miles per day.
With the general merchant connections I would have, thanks to working with the Snow Dwarves and my mother's company and traveling around doing that, would I know of any merchant companies that might have one in the area? Profession mercantile role?
Yeah, I'd say profession mercantile. Let's see what you got.
All right.
Oh, that's not nearly as bad as I thought. Okay.
It's a problem of finding one would be what you'd know.
Well, I know. No,
Yeah.
I know. I was expecting a higher price.
No, they're. It's because of the fact that typically, the fact is they only go very specific locations and very specific ports. That's why. If you find someone who's willing to go anywhere, they're gonna charge a lot more. 18.
Yeah.
You take a minute. You think, James, for the first time since entering the city, you think for a second, and you remember back when Essa pointed towards the sky right before you got attacked by the Drac and the City of Gold, and you saw that dragon flying into town, and you think for a minute, and you realize a lot of dragon lords from different lands might attract some very unique merchants to the area. Now you don't have any contacts directly, but in this town, in Dragon's Crown, directly. But you remember one of your cousins mentioning something about one of the frost giants sending his son this far north at some point as part of his trade mission. And you would roughly guesstimate that Dragon's Crown, being one of the biggest trade cities, not open to the public, but being a massive trade city, if someone was going to try and make a name for themselves as a merchant, this would probably be a major location. Now, you'd also know with that giants aren't often found in Dragonlands because they're very well, typically enslaved or killed outright. So they'd have to be very well connected if they were here. So whoever you'd be dealing with, if you did find someone you know would be very professional and capable, if they were willing to deal with you.
Do I remember the name of the trading company the giant was supposed to be establishing? Would be the next question then.
You take a moment to think. Really digging back. You kind of start. You open up a little book and start digging through for a moment, checking. As
True mercantile fashion, leaving this guy standing in front of us as I can.
Yeah, you kind of take a second, thinking about it, and as you're remembering, you remember something like Woodwalker. You remember what's the name of the family, but you don't remember the guy's name for a moment. You know Woodwalker though. That name will be recognized.
I think we'll have to pass on this. There may be, but good luck to you on your journey.
Kind of smiles and just waves you off as you leave, like kind of like, oh well. They kind of strap up their wagon and head off on their own as you.
Gonna head into town and carefully ask around about Woodwalker.
When you say carefully, what do you mean by carefully? What's carefully to James?
I'm not gonna instantly go to the blacksmith.
Okay. So are you looking
I'm avoiding the one that I know is an asshole. I'll go ask Hugh. I'm a guild leader. My brain is
I'll go.
Yeah, you head back up to it, and as you kind of rushing up, you see as Hago's about to leaving. He kind of turns and looks at you for a moment as he sees you kind of walk up. He looks at you, and goes, "James, right?"
Correct.
What can I do for you?
I'm looking for someone named an individual named Woodwalker that should have been coming up this way to set up a trading company under their name. They would have stuck out quite a bit for who they are.
He kind of takes a second, thinks about it, and goes, Loroth is in town. He's disguised as a dragonkin currently.
Does that name click with...
It's Loroth Woodwalker, I believe is his name.
That'd be who I'm looking for. Would you mind telling me where I can find them?
He's hiding in the slums away from the nobles. He sells his goods on the black market whenever he comes into town.
That's
look for you'll look for blue dragonkin, but has a whisker out of his front chin. He can't seem to get rid of that one hair. It's funny as hell.
All right, that's a great lead. Thank you.
And he nods and kind of turns around and heads back on his business as you head back to the group.
We're gonna head to the slums real quick.
All right,
We
watch
may
your
have
pockets.
a better bit of transportation.
Yeah. As you lot start heading down deep into the darker areas of town, the less developed,
Before we go too deep into the slums, I'm hiding the money and covering the goods.
Okay.
Period. And I will leave a small coin purse on my side filled with just the 8 silver pieces that I had extra.
Okay.
If someone robs me, they're getting a little bit of money, but they aren't getting everything I fucking got.
Alright. Yeah, as you do so, you kind of vibing, or kind of listening in on or watching the situation, you look about for a minute, and you kind of realizing what's going on, creating a fake purse, because, of course, not having a purse is too suspicious. You create your little fake purse with the silver pieces in it, covering the goods with one of your cheaper leather skins that's completely ruined, making it look like it's just a bunch of junk on a wagon. You kind of disguise yourself up slightly, making yourself look a little more run down. Give me a disguise check for that, please.
I'm not getting robbed if I can avoid it. The smart merchant hides.
Kind of like what S is doing as well. And
I haven't changed my clothes to look any richer since I've made money.
Well, I'm just saying, because, the fact that everyone keeps mistaking you for a woman.
Disguise check 18 today.
Mistaking me for a man.
Yeah, man, sorry. Yeah, as you manage, you manage to start getting everything kind of stuff, even getting messing up and throwing a little bit of dirt onto BK to his annoyance as he glares back at you and
I
hauls out
whisper in
at
his
you.
ear and feed him an apple, and just go.
I'll say
I'll wash it out later. You know that.
I just want to pet him.
As you do so, seeing James kind of dirtying up everything, you lot start heading further into the slums. Give me some search checks, because I assume James would have explained to Essa and Rollman what you're looking,
Yeah,
who you're
I
looking
would have
for.
given them the
It's
general
search
description.
time.
Well,
What we're here to do. Wow, now that we're done doing all that and we're on some real merchant shit.
14.
14. I wrote the name down by the way.
13.
13, nice.
17.
If you rolled a 12 or a 15, that would have been hilarious.
Essa and Rollman, as you're watching about, a couple of you all kind of start following a couple kobold here and there. But as you start kind of getting deeper into the slums, they start. It's not that they look the same in the sense. It's just that there are too many of them that look similar to each other to kind of identify immediately to you. Even looking, because none of them seem to have the one hair that James seems to specify. As you kind of have to get close to look. Essa, I imagine, volunteering most of the time, being the more normal-looking one to walk up.
Normal looking.
In a
For
in a
this
kobold city, yes. You would be you do stick out a bit, Rollman. So does James, but they
What are you
kind of.
talking about?
I perfectly
blend
blend
in.
in the crowd.
Most people, as you kind of get the general sense mode, most people assume you're working for Essa as you walk about this town.
I especially fit in the slums in this area because I'm not exactly wearing anything expensive. I'm
No.
kind of just walking around in clothing.
As you lot are kind of like coming further and further in, James kind of starts to notice a group of people talking. James, your senses go off. Something you catch as one of them hands off a little like what looks to be like a brown like leather sack of something, and the other hands off a couple gold coins to the person. They like do a handoff to each other and they kind of pocket as they split up. You start to kind of follow off with the guy who just pocketed the coins and slowly following him down a couple alleyways with the rest of the party. You find yourself in a small, like a dark house that is well built but looks torn down on the outside. The inside seems to be very well built up, designed, light spells cast everywhere. Wizards walking about casting little magical enchanted items and script like little runes carved into like scripts of paper and such, all cast about. Bunch of like miscellaneous magic items on very low tier, many looking shoddy, kind of expand out on these tables as tons of merchants are like lining the table, yelling and shouting as people are walking
smiling.
about. Yeah, you
Because
see
this was the starter experience I would have gotten as a merchant. I would have been forced to do this.
You see at the very back as you're looking at this thing, many of the younger merchants kind of working their goods with their like discount at crappier goods that are just good enough to sell for a one-time item. A very tall-looking dragonkin that is bright blue with the single hair, like half his face is slightly giant-looking. As it doesn't look like the disguise spell or disguise kit or whatever he did to himself isn't really taking fully, or it's starting to wear off. As customers are still coming in and buying his goods, as he hands off a couple of like small like handheld versions of these toy like sky-ships and such. He kind of smiles. He also seems to be selling like silver weapons, a couple of random pieces, or a couple of quarterstaffs and clubs that he seems to be selling on the cheap. As you walk up to him, he looks over at you a lot and goes, as he looks at all three of you, and he looks almost at James immediately and goes, "You, James, you right there, you're the one that's been looking for me, haven't you?"
Yes, I have. I'm saying with a calm smile. I'm not looking intimidating at all. Other than the fact that I'm still kitted out with all my weapons.
You do, as you look about, you do notice that many of the guards that seem to kind of like be behind the tables next to the merchants seem to also be very kitted out with, not uncommon gear, but very like masterwork gear. This place looks very well established and very guarded. Even
How many are there?
Merchants or guards?
The guards. I would have clocked the guards.
Give me a search check, for it. See how many you can count or how many you catch.
Quietly, I'm going to reach into a pocket carefully and
This is
pull
my
out a
job as
slip
well.
of paper.
Okay. Essa, go ahead.
Yeah, this is my job as well.
You said spot check?
Yeah. Search is what
Search?
you're looking. Yeah, because you're looking for the guard
The
specifically.
slip of paper I'm pulling out is my
Totally.
right to trade in the Frost Giant lands, and I'm going to simply show it to him and only him, because I don't need it
Okay.
freaking out and going, I need passage here.
I want to say he won one as a joke. 'Cause there's no such thing, but he did win it. And it
No, I know. I remember. I know what he's referencing, so that's why I'm
I
not
swear
saying
it was a
anything.
joke because my land's open to trade.
And then
Yeah,
okay,
I know,
Roland.
but this is a special. I'm going off. This is a specific invitation to go do that. That's why it's like, okay,
As
perfect.
Essa and Roland, as you kind of one on each side with BK like behind you, as kind of James is kind of dragging him into the middle of the like area of this very crowded, as there's just so many people in this market. Essa and Roman, you start kind of watching on the sides. As you clock, each one of the merchants has 1 to 3 bodyguards each. Roman, you get about a count of almost like 30 guards walking about the behind the merchants and like, guarding their goods. Essa, you kind of take a moment as you kind of catch what Roman's doing, kind of following his eyes. You notice that even further back behind the wall, or like in the back darker portions of the walls, there are about 13 to 14 very well equipped full plate knights standing there with emblems of the Movasi house like guarding this room. They do not look like they are to be screwed with, as the gear is very well damaged and looks very well used yet maintained.
Good to know.
As James kind of pulls his paper out, the guy looks down. The frost giant disguised as this dragonkin looks down at it and goes, "Why is my father's signature below that? God damn it!" And you see him kind of like put the fingers
Old
to his
favors
bridge,
of
and
the
he goes,
family.
"You know that the frost giants have an open trade because of Greg's Maritan's
Oh, I know,
deal,
but
right?"
I was told to use this as leverage.
Sure.
I just give him a sly smile, and I'm
Still-
gonna be like, and I'm willing to pay for travel. I'm not gonna say take us for free, as I will lead him over to the cart and offer him the silver and gold ingots.
Oh, kind of looks at them and goes, "Remind me how many you have?"
2 silver and 1 gold. The rest is bronze, and if he wants the bronze, I'll happily part with it for now.
He looks at it and goes, "I'll take the silver, I'll take the gold, plus 100 gold apiece for each of you. The donkey ride's free." And you see, as he mentions that, you see as BK kind of turns and he haws it with like a slight smile on his face. His ears kind of go up, his tail like twitching back and forth.
I will nod, and I will pay for everyone, and we'll just pass off the gold and silver.
All right, you pay
I
300
will
gold
say
pieces.
I checked with DM to see if I knew prices because I've traveled there. It's usually about 200 per person.
That's nice.
Yeah.
He pockets the gold and goes, "We leave in the morning." Well, you know what? And he kind of turns or looks about and he sees the knights in the corners kind of looking at him, and he kind of goes, "I think my time's up." He turns and starts wrapping up his equipment and goes,
Okay then.
"Follow me." And as he starts to kind of lead you out the side of the entrance with him, he kind of opens up a small, or he kind of kicks a small chest, and you see like legs kind of pop out of it as he shoves things into it, and it starts following him around.
You know, when we meet with him, I'm handing over the right to trade, and I'm gonna be like, thanks for the great gag.
He kind of leads you to one of the areas where you see a very clear path that's like open field, where a couple of houses look like they used to be but they got so ran down they kind of fell into the ground, and there's just a slight imprint of them now. As he snaps his fingers, and you see one of the frost giants suddenly pops out of like nowhere as he pulls off this giant cloth that looks like it weighs a ton, as like 4 other frost giants have to jump onto it and like pull it off this thing, and as this giant almost tarp like object falls down off the thing, it falls onto the ground, and he looks at you and goes, "That cost me more than a fortune, and the thing only works once."
That is a fucking terrible thing.
Yeah, well, but magic items are hard to come by in this time. I haven't found any good smiths yet that can get it. As you see his crew starts wrapping up this thing and like hurriedly trying to get everything onto the ship that's now in the.
I'll look to James, but I'll motion to for not to speak about.
I'm just
merchants
I'm just smiling
or-
right now calmly. I'm not saying anything.
Okay.
taking the hit.
There's no reason to say anything right now.
Taking the hit from Roloman, as he kind of like slightly nudges you a little bit, the merchant Laura, who's staring at his crew, not even paying attention to you lot, seems to like whistle, and you see as a ramp gets like put out, and he goes, "All right, get on. We've got less than a few minutes before the guards get here, and they start shooting fireballs at me. Not literally, but
getting BK on and getting up there, and I'm going to actually quietly. I'm gonna make sure I'm near somewhere where if we start getting shot at, I can try to do something."
As you start climbing on, the cart getting on, BK excitingly rushing on with almost enthusiasm, not realizing the terror that's about to happen to him as he has to fly through the air.
Question.
Yes, Roland.
I'm asking the man.
The merchant.
Is this anything like sailing, or is it somewhat different than over the water?
First time?
Yes.
Have you ever flown before?
No.
Have you ever been launched through the air?
My best advice is just you don't want to know until it happens, and I'd really recommend getting on quickly, because if we're gonna be chased by the dragons on the way out, it's gonna make it much worse, as he kind of starts like pushing you on, like trying to shove you towards it, not moving you in the slightest.
Understood. And I'll be
You kind of take a step forward, you watch as he slightly falls forward, realizing it can push your weight. As you kind of go walking up, he follows on, and you start to hear roars and sirens going off as the ship starts to float up in the air, and he goes, you start hearing in Giant. Do any of you speak Giant?
I think yes, I do.
Oh, perfect. You all hear basically, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit from the guy behind the helm as he's like trying to get this thing to move as the sails are brought down and the thing starts taking off with the wind breeze at a breakneck pace. I need a reflex save from Essa, James, and Rolliman.
There is a balance check.
Actually, you're right. Let's do a balance check. That's easier.
It's the same thing for me either way.
Balance is worse for me. How dare you?
That 20.
It's worse for you?
So I have...
Yeah, because my class gives me a flat +2 to... I don't... It's a thing I have points in.
I got a nat 20 because I have a +2 to balance. That is fucking hilarious.
Let's see what we got.
Ouch.
Nope. Yeah, Essa, this is not your first time on one of these ships, but it's your first time on one that flies. Most of the ones you're experienced with go on the water. So knowing that these things, what these are and what they charge, you know what was to happen, but having not truly flown on one of these before, you find yourself falling back almost immediately as the thing takes off at breakneck speed, falling into like the captain's quarters walls, slamming into the outer wall that separates it. You kind of find yourself kind of sat on your butt as the ship takes off at almost a 90-degree angle, going straight up in the air. Rolliman barely managing to grab onto the center staff or center sail beam and just hold on.
While I'm just like a mountain goat standing there.
James managing to just stand and hold himself, and you watch as BK goes flying backwards into the thing with the wagon slamming into the wagon, cart not shattering, thankfully. BK haws in annoyance and anger as this happens. You find yourselves shooting up in the sky.
I would have asked if I could use my nat 20 to make BK stand beside me, just holding.
As it kind of eventually curves over, you see as some smaller dragons start chasing after you as the ship's taking off at breakneck speed, catching a heavier wind with the spring storm coming in, and seems to start off at a high pace. Answering Rolliman's earlier question too, how does this work? As the ship starts at a higher pace than what you'd expect.
I'm gonna peek over the edge. Do I see anyone trying to cast like fireball or anything?
No one's. As you see the dragons coming towards you, they seem to shoot out breath weapons that seem to fall quite short of the ship, as it's too far in distance to keep up with. The younger adult dragons don't seem to keep much of an interest as you start to pass about halfway between you and the city of Fierster, and giving up and kind of turning back around. You still see in the far distance, still even a little north and a little east to where you guys end up at that point, seeing the green dragon still circling around that one area in the forest.
I'm going to go and correct the wagon as everything evens out and make sure nothing got broken.
Yeah, and as you guys start to mellow out, who wants to roll for favorable winds and see how long it's going to take you guys?
I will say that Essa should.
Go Essa.
All right, give me a D20.
Roll a good number.
Just a flat D20?
Just a flat D20.
I just went off of
All right.
order of names of the
10.
party.
Right in the middle.
All right. Gives me okay. That'll answer my question for next session. All right. As the ship starts to take off, the winds are starting to pick up with the spring in this going on. The storms that are clearly going on, kind of expanding out, avoiding the areas to your east or to your west as you look out. You start on your journey towards Hrimper.
Oh man.
Give me a minute. All right. I can do this. I
You know,
promise.
I don't want to hear any shit afterwards of me having issues pronouncing
Grim
things.
Purser's last hold.
Prim Purser's last hold is so much worse to remember than Telu Aussie.
And I knew how to say it. I knew the word. I just couldn't pronounce it. I was trying to get the pronunciation proper there.
And that's why I didn't say remembering. I said pronouncing.
Well,
You
you
fucking
remember
past.
half the time, motherfucker. Yeah. Anyway, thank you all for those who've watched. As we'll pick up with the party on their travels, going next time towards Him Purser's last hold. The players, just as a last note before the end of the session, please do have some downtime stuff planned for between 1 day to a month's worth of travel time, depending on. Thank you all for watching,
Jesus.
and hope you enjoy.